What's happening, everybody? Happy Saturday. We've made it to the weekend. One more weekend. Almost the end of the year. That is, it's both been the longest year of my life, and no, it's just been the longest year of my life. It feels like it's been 10 years so far. What's going on, guys? We've got a bit to talk about today. We've got some new Epstein news. We've got a new book. Got a new book. You guys want to see a new book? Everybody wants to see a new book. Okay. We need to work on a name for a philosophy channel. Okay. I was going Trailer Park Aristotle. My wife not feeling it. Okay. How about Full Throttle Aristotle? Okay. Also throwing that one out there. Blue Collar Aristotle. I don't know. We're gonna come up with it. We need to figure out how to start a philosophy channel for people that know that I definitely am not a educated philosopher. We don't want to get anybody's hopes up that this is actually going to be good content. I also wanted to do a book club channel. Book club channel would be pretty dope. Talking about books. I would love to have a book club channel. I can't have all these channels though. If I have all these channels, my wife is going to choke me to death in my sleep. But it's fun to think about. It sure is fun to dream about it. All right, new book. You guys ready for this? New book. Joseph Campbell, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. The defining book of the hero's journey, guys. So right now I'm still finishing. I'm a quarter of the way through Paradise Lost right now. So I'm still about a quarter. Also, just really fucking annoying. But the Amazon people, that's right. I give Jeff Bezos money. Don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me. Some of these books are a little bit harder to find, all right? Don't judge me. I'm also getting The Blood Meridian, No Country for Old Men, and The Road, the Cormac McCarthy books, pretty soon as well. Like a couple weeks, and I'll get those books as well. But look at this bullshit. Little plastic. They put the sticker. They put the sticker to hold the bag on the book. So now we have fucking stickiness. We're gonna have to use some Gooby Gone or something like that. So annoying. So annoying. Anyways, Joseph Campbell, Hero of 1,000 Faces. We're gonna be reading that probably after we get done with Paradise Lost. We're gonna finish Paradise Lost, and then we're gonna pop on to probably Hero with 1,000 Faces next. Although I did want to read Plato's Republic next, but probably Hero with 1,000 Faces next. So that's what we're doing. That's where we're at. I mean, I guess I could have worn my hat today. I'm not going to wear my crown. No kings. I hope everybody had a good Halloween. You guys have a good Halloween? I hope you guys had a fun Halloween. I hope you guys got all the stuff that they say that they put in kids' candies in your candy. Because that's the good stuff. All right. Let's see who's here. And then let's start the fun and games. Alan number 1, Etch number 2, Woke Mike coming in 3rd. Oh, the bronze, dude. Bronze isn't even worth talking about, Woke Mike. Etch, what's happening? Alan, what's happening? Woke Mike, what's happening? Jeannie, what's going on, Jeannie? Tammy, what's happening, Tammy? Nightbot. Nightbot's doing a good job. If you see Nightbot giving you guys a Clips channel or giving you guys the Twitch channel, I'd really appreciate you guys subbing to both of those channels. Okay? Get that Twitch warning. I don't know. Is there a Twitch warning? Does Twitch send you that? I don't know what happens on Twitch. I only go over there every once in a while to see if my subscriber count has gone up or if I've gotten any views ever. I think I have like 115 or something like that subscribers on Twitch, which is pretty good. It's not bad for me. Not bad for me. Let's see who's here. Rosanna. What's happening? Rosanna. AG is locked in a safe. I'm not locked in a safe. I'm okay. Let's see. Cajun. What's going on, Cajun? Cajun, I have the Chargers defense against your Saints this week. Don't hate me. It's important. I'm sorry. The Chargers defense is pretty good, and that Saints offense is just not good. Not good. Not good. So far, my day has gone good. I hope you guys had a great Halloween. Poll for tonight's World Series. I'm pulling for the Blue Jays. Here, let's put a poll up. Let's do it. Oops. There we go. Why am I adding more stuff here? Okay. I don't get to vote, but I will tell you guys, I'm going Blue Jays. I'm going Blue Jays. Nope, you weren't number one, Mike. You can't trump this, buddy. You can't trump this. You can't just say you were number one, Mike. I have the evidence. The evidence right here. I'm in live chat. It says Alan Etch woke Mike. You're number 3. You're bronze, bro. That's the way it works. Okay? I'm not here to play favorites, woke Mike. All right? You're number 3. Alcohol wipe takes off the stickiness. Sweet. I will work on that. You went out for a rip today. Did you see the goat? I didn't see any goats. Do you mean that you went out and drove around on your motorcycle? I like that motorcycle. It's pretty cool looking. Like it's an old-timey motorcycle. Kind of like I like my boss's Triumph. He has a Triumph that's a cruiser, and it's got like a little bit of that rusty patina going on. Did I see the JD Vance fat face meme? Actually, Redonk sent me that fat face. Dude, he is so creepy. Why is JD Vance so creepy? What happened? Well, no, never mind. Why am I saying what happened? It's always been creepy. Etch, you're 45. I'm about to turn 46. I'm older than you, Etch. Stan, what's happening? What's going on, Stan? Can't believe I'm shaving my balls for this. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry to be so disappointing, Redonk. Roxanne, what's going on? Let's see. Oh, the national anthem was a mess. I saw that. I did see that. You had 100-foot bonfire, Cajun? That's dope. I mean, in California, you can't have 100-foot bonfires. That shit'll get you beaten up. You have a bonfire that's outside of any type of containment. You'll definitely some people fucking that have lost their home in a fire will show up to your house. Oh, drinking some coffee. Coffee's good. Yeah, the Saints are horrible right now. Not watching too stressful. Okay. Someone I'm sure will update you. No one likes the Dodgers. All right. Look, I'm from Southern California. I grew up watching Earl Hershiser, Brett Butler, Darryl Strawberry. Like, I watched all those guys. I can't like the Dodgers. Although Shohei Ohtani is, hands down, quite possibly the best baseball player that has ever played the game, period. Fucking insane. Insane. Let's see. Would be funny if a Kennedy team won. Yeah. Robert, what's going on, Robert? You saw some goats. Oh, you saw some goats. Dope. Daniel. I don't even have my breasts out. But thank you. I'm not even wearing a low-cut shirt, brother. I do have a freshly shaven bald head, though. Shit is smooth. Smooth, guys. Smooth. You hate the Dodgers, but not as much as you hate Canada? Why would you hate Canada? Why would you hate Canada? Canada's the best. Mike, where are you going? Mike's going to watch a baseball game. Mike, are you mad that I said I hate the Dodgers? Are you mad that Daniel's telling me I'm a cutie patootie? All right, we've got things to do. Average number 1. Oh, are you fighting with Alan? Oh, it's your sarcasm. You got to add that. You got to add that on the end so I know you're being sarcastic. Oh, okay. Fire in some areas could result in Trump deploying armed troops. 100%. Oh, I forgot. We were supposed to watch this. Okay, hold on. Because I said I was going to watch this on stream to prove whether or not I'm being... I'm exaggerating stuff or not. I don't know. You guys, did you guys see? You guys tell me. Did you guys see that allegedly some Trump admin are now moving on to they're moving on to military bases? Okay? This is Fox News, all right? This isn't CNN. This isn't anybody else. You guys tell me if you guys saw this and whether or not you guys think this is concerning. You tell me. Should we be concerned about this new thing happening? All right.
Meanwhile, back in Washington, we talk about a sign of the times. Administration officials increasingly are facing so many very serious and violent threats that they find that the only option...
Because, look, bullshit. We know this is bullshit. The lie has been made, or the lie has been shown already to all the protests and everything else, right? Everything else. There's no, crazy violence going on. Now they're gonna say Charlie Kirk, they're gonna say Donald Trump's, assassination attempt, things like that, right? But those aren't from Democrats. Like I said, when it comes to Charlie Kirk shooter, at best, you could say he was potentially a groyper, maybe even like really, really nihilistic, like apolitical. The whole having potentially a furry for a significant other, like that doesn't mean anything. Like I think it's hilarious when right-wing people, if you say right-wing people don't like gay people, then they point out all the gay people that are in their party. If you say right-wing people don't like transgender people, they point to Caitlyn Jenner. But then immediately if there's a transgender person involved in anything, or a furry or anybody that's LGBT, then they point to that person being left-wing. It's so fucking weird. But Matthew Crooks seems like he was just a nihilistic, apolitical, like just out there, disenfranchised, disillusioned young man. If Tyler Robinson ends up being the Charlie Kirk shooter, seems the same. Groyper maybe, nihilistic. I don't know if he's apolitical, but comes from a MAGA family. Like, you can't use these instances of violence to then say that this is somehow causing these people to be afraid of liberals. Because currently the liberals are a bunch of people in frog suits dancing in front of the ICE fucking facility in Oregon, right? As far as I remember, the Stephen Miller thing was he moved out of his house because they had written chalk messages about him, not being a good person. Like, there's nothing threatening about it. It was written in chalk. So I think this is bullshit. I think that there could be something a lot more to this. I think that this is when you talk about Donald Trump potentially getting National Guard ready for the beginning of the year, because he says that at the beginning of the year that they might have to deploy National Guard to all these other places, and you're moving admin onto military bases. To me, that says something's going on. But am I being crazy? Because I might be. It's a possibility, okay? Am I exaggerating this being important, or do you guys think that this is something that's crazy that's going on?
They have is to actually move their families and themselves onto military bases. Here's the list of some of the notable acts of political motivated violence. Of course, you had June 2022, the plot that was...
Okay, so that was fucking... Okay, that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. We're bringing up old shit. The assassination attempt was by fucking Matthew Crooks, who had no political affiliation that we know of. He's very young. He researched both taking out Biden and Trump. The Jewish Museum fatal shooting was a person that took those 2 Jewish people's lives. That was definitely an extremist, definitely a person that was out of their fucking mind. That was 2 people that were not political. They happened to be outside Charlie Kirk, as I already said. Tyler Robinson, it doesn't seem to have a political affiliation, seems to be nihilistic, seems to be disillusioned, and at best is a groiper. Okay, Paul Pelosi? Oh, now we're throwing liberal shit in there? Okay, all right, hold on. Look, they didn't have enough notable acts of violence surrounding conservatives. They had to bring in, this is all, the PA governor, Shapiro, that guy, second assassination attempt, this guy literally voted for Trump and said that it should be Nikki Haley and fucking Vivek Ramaswamy running, definitely a Republican. And then Minnesota legislators, that dude was 100% a fucking Republican. Why would Stephen Miller be scared of any of these people? I mean, I guess if you're making the argument that overall the political environment is more violent than it has been in the past, I could get that. But currently, the people that are doing all the violence are the people in power. Right? Am I wrong about that?
Against Supreme Court Justice Brett
Sadness
Kavanaugh.
Island.
You had the Paul Pelosi was attacked in October of 2022. Obviously, you have the assassination attempts on President Trump, both of them. You have the arson at Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home.
Yeah, redunk. They missed Scalise. They missed Scalise being. They had a chance. They totally don't even remember dude getting shot at the softball game.
Yeah, and
like they could have took out one of those liberal ones and they could have thrown in a conservative guy.
Of course, the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I think the Charlie Kirk assassination was such a shock to, especially to anybody who is in public life, that you could go with security to a university and simply have open debate, and you get shot in such a horrific way.
Oh yeah, let's just wash it. Let's wash it. Obviously, nobody should be shot for their fucking opinion, but let's not act like this whole fucking political environment that has been created right now has been created by lots of people making money off of rage, right? Let's not act like hey, just people getting together, man, just talking. Like, no one should be fucking shot. Like, I don't think that needs to be said again. Like, we've been saying this for fucking the last 2 months. But we also need to stop qualifying it by saying oh, this is just peaceful debate. Like, it was peaceful in the way that people were talking to each other. That's acceptable, whatever you want to say. But there's so much right now in content creation, in just life, entertainment, where it's if you're not in conflict with somebody, if people aren't in some way aggressively attacking each other verbally, then it's not worth watching. Everything's blood sports right now. I'm just tired of hearing yeah, it's actually just, peaceful debate. No, it's the dude knew he was making a bunch of fucking money off of it. He was pushing the envelope. It never should have went to that place. It went to that place, but let's stop acting like anybody is turning down the temperature of this room. That's not what's happening.
In front of college students, I'm still not over it. I'm just surprised how in the liberal media it's just kind of just gone away.
Speaking of.
Here, a lot of conservatives, and of course at Fox News, we have not forgotten. We will not forget. But it has just gone.
These motherfuckers love those 2 words, don't they? Never forget, except for all the other shit. Never forget the shit that we care about.
Off the pages, oh, just another day. But the people who are not forgetting, especially, are those in the public eye. And so one of them is Stephen Miller. This is The Atlantic saying Stephen Miller joined a growing list of senior Trump administration and political appointees, at least 6 by our count.
Bro, so all of these people are moving onto army bases. Trump is potentially widening his bunker, adding some gold to the bunker, okay? Maybe putting a couple big screens down there, all right? I've heard conspiracy theories that they're all trying to go into the bunker, that they're trying to make the bunker bigger so that way they can all go down into the bunker.
Living in Washington area military housing, where they are shielded not just from potential violence, but also from protests. It is an ominous marker of the nation's polarization, to which the Trump administration has itself contributed. I don't know where they got that from, that some of those.
She don't know where they got that from. Dude, Fox News is so dumb. She doesn't know where they got that from. Where the Trump administration, the guy who literally makes up insulting nicknames for his political opponents, the guy that has called for Hillary Clinton to be locked up. They don't know that has referred his administration that has referred to people on the left as being terrorists. Don't know where that came from. I just don't. I'm not sure, man. It's weird. It's weird where they would think that Trump's administration is adding to the political polarization. It's almost like this motherfucker was the main person that started this shit. It's so crazy.
Top public servants have felt a need to separate themselves from the public. These civilian officials can now depend on the U.S. military to augment their personal security. But so many have made the move that they are now straining the availability of housing for the nation's top units.
No big deal, guys. No big deal. The nation's top Army, military, Marine, naval officers, they don't need places to stay. Stephen Miller does, guys. Fuck protecting the general that could possibly, like, save us from a fucking foreign adversary that, like, decides to invade the country. No, we gotta save Stephen Miller, guys. General Mattis, what do we need General Mattis for when we got Pee Wee German?
Uniformed officers. So the Atlantic really worried about housing for officers. They don't seem to care about the fact that military aren't getting paid.
Yeah, not just his opponents, also his allies. That's what I'm saying. Donald Trump's the most divisive person of all time. He didn't even just divide the left from the right. He divided the right from the right from the right. Like, he fractured the Republican Party into, like, fucking splinters. The Republican Party exists in this, like, weird, like, chain of islands now.
During the shutdown, but okay.
Underground bowling alley. Possible. What's happening, Lauren? What's going on, Lauren? What's up, Suzanne?
So it's good on the Atlantic for pointing this out, but they do miss the point, Rachel. I mean, look, I cannot remember a time.
What kind of dumb shit is this? What kind of... I hate these people.
In my adult life that the threat of political violence was higher. And that is very sobering. And to see, we have had in the past some defense secretaries, Bob Gates, Jim Mattis, live on military bases. That's not...
General Mattis lived on a military... No shit, dog. No shit.
Unusual. But now, with people like Stephen Miller moving into the military because of threats on his life, it is akin to, in 2023, the mayor of Tijuana had to move on to a Mexican military base because the cartel was openly saying,
Bro, shut the fuck up. Is he really fucking comparing? Oh my God, dude. Is he really comparing a dude in Tijuana having to move onto the Mexican military base because the cartels are hunting him down to Stephen Miller having chalk fucking stuff written outside of his house? Chalk on the sidewalk? You gotta be joking, dude. Like, who falls for this shit, man? Who falls for this?
Are going to kill you. These are the threats that Stephen Miller and Katie Miller and their children are getting. And it's really a moment that seems unprecedented in terms of the political violence in our country.
I think the kid part is a really important point. I mean, I know Jen Hegseth and Pete Hegseth made that move onto the base. Kind of made sense. They're part of the military, but also the kind of freedom their kids can have from harassment and the safety they need now because of this very violent environment we're in.
Yeah.
Dude.
Indeed.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Okay. All right. I'm going to tell you guys. What did they just make me get rid of something that I didn't want to get rid of? God damn it, Fox News. You're sabotaging me. All right. This is what I have to say to that. No. You don't need to be scared of the dudes in the frog suits. You don't need to be so scared of the dudes in the frog suits that you have to move on to a military base. Look, if the rent's too damn high, just say the rent is too damn high. You know it's getting bad when the most corrupt individuals in our government, the biggest grifters that have ever existed, have to move on to the military bases because they can't pay the rent. You know, that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with. I don't know. You guys tell me. Is it something that people should be worried about? Because it looks like maybe it's something that people should be worried about. Where you guys at? Chalk outline of a body might scare me to move if I lived in the USA. Did they do a chalk outline? I don't think they did a chalk outline, though. Did they, Jeannie? All I saw was like fucking goofy ass liberal messages. All I saw was like fucking like liberals, dude. It's so funny because it's like Republicans are like both that liberals are not scary, but they're also so fucking scary that you have to move on to a military base. I do not understand. I don't understand. Yeah, what about all the kids that are getting fucking scared to death by ICE? Yeah, they don't care about those kids. They don't want those guys to move on onto the bases. Why would they want that? They don't, remember, they only care about children when they're still in the woman's body, all right? After that, they don't care at all about children. They don't give two shits about children. Like, there's not a single one of these people that actually stands on business when it comes to taking care of children, but there's a fucking ass ton of them that will move on to a military base the first time somebody writes something in chalk outside their house. That's who they are. They're so scared. I don't think they're scared. I'm telling you. I don't think they're scared. I think that they're moving onto those bases because they got some other shit going on. I would say bookmark this video for if it happens, but if you bookmark this video and then that shit happens, we won't be able to watch this. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. All right. So we're still talking Epstein. We're not going to stop talking. You can move on to bases. What is he? He's trying to invade Nigeria now. We're still talking Epstein. Okay. We're not going to stop talking about Epstein. You can tweet out how you're going to invade Nigeria and take Nigeria, apparently. I don't even think that's a good idea. I don't think that taking Nigeria, you don't want to add that to your portfolio, okay? But apparently Donald Trump has been tweeting about how he's going to take Nigeria. And you can talk about moving people on bases. You can send the National Guard to all the states. You can do all that stuff. We ain't going to stop talking about the Epstein files. Because more stuff just came out. So, JP Morgan flagged $1 billion in Epstein-linked transactions to Trump. Okay? Not to Trump. Not the transactions to him. They flagged it to him in 2019. Just weeks after Jeffrey Epstein died in jail in 2019, banking giant JP Morgan Chase alerted the Trump administration to more than $1 billion in potentially suspicious transactions involving several high-profile U.S. business figures, as well as wire transfers to Russian banks. Just weeks after Jeffrey Epstein died, they flagged billions of dollars being sent to high-profile U.S. business figures and Russian banks. Someone please tell me how that's not fucking sus. Can somebody fucking help me? How is that not suspect? The report, which JP Morgan filed and which was released this week among hundreds of pages of previously sealed court records, by the way, 6 years later, flagged over 4,700 transactions amid concerns they could potentially be related to human trafficking operations involving Epstein. But remember, crazy-ass Kash Patel says, nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see. Just traffic women to himself because that's what traffickers do. They sell them to themselves. Remember Pam Bondi when she said when she got honeypotted that there thousands of videos involving high-profile people and children. But no, that doesn't exist. It's all a hoax made up by the Biden administration and Barack Obama. Among the names highlighted in JP Morgan's suspicious activity report are Leon Black, once again, co-founder of private equity firm Apollo Global Management and former MA chairman, billionaire hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, celebrity attorney Alan Dershowitz, and trusts linked to retail magnate Leslie Wexner. At least 3 of these names we have heard multiple times now. We have heard Black, we have heard Wexner, and we all know who the fuck Dershowitz is. Over and over again. Though each man appeared in connection with financial dealings tied to Epstein, what those transactions involved and precisely how Epstein fits into the picture remains unclear. None of them has been charged with crimes in connection with a disgraced financier. Yeah, we know. We know. What's happening, Nina? Okay, hold on. According to the New York Times, which alongside the Wall Street Journal requested the documents to be made public, the report alerted authorities to wire transfers to Russian banks, while also mentioning sensitivities surrounding Epstein's relations with 2 U.S. presidents. Trump, Clinton, right? Trump, Clinton. Epstein is known to have been close to President Trump and former President Bill Clinton. The report offered few specifics about the suspicious transactions or why they raised red flags other than their apparent ties to Epstein. Key points it highlights include $65 million worth of wire transfers linked to trusts controlled by retail billionaire Wexner. The transfers, dating back to the mid-2000s, appear to pass through multiple banks. Not sus. Just going through multiple banks, that's just normal shit, guys. $65 million? I mean, there's a lot you can buy with $65 million, right? You like $65 million, that's like a $20 bill to us. You're just spending that all the time, everywhere you go. Definitely not suspect. Epstein served as a trustee for some of Wexner's trusts and acted as a close financial advisor for nearly 20 years. Wexner's business empire included retailers such as The Limited and Victoria's Secret. That's sus. Following Epstein's death, Wexner publicly accused him of misappropriating vast sums of money. Oh, did he? Oh, I'm sure. Oh, now he's dead. He's like, oh, yeah, that guy, he was a total creep. Oh, that sounds familiar. Sounds like Donald Trump might have actually said the same thing. It's weird how after this dude died, all of a sudden, all of these people were like, you know what? In hindsight, pretty fucking creepy dude. The JP Morgan report did not provide details about the transactions involving the Blacks, the Dubins, or Dershowitz. However, links between some of them are already known. Epstein had numerous ties to Dubin. The disgraced financier had played a key role in brokering the sale of Dubin's firm to JP Morgan. You don't say! A deal that earned Epstein a $15 million fee. Epstein had also previously dated Dubin's wife, Eva Anderson Dubin, and was named godfather to the couple's children. The report flagged undisclosed financial activity involving Epstein and Black, his wife, and a family partnership. A recent article by the New York Times also revealed Black had paid Epstein around $170 million over several years, along with hundreds of thousands of dollars to at least 3 women linked to Epstein. Representatives for Black said he had no comment, but directed the Independent to a previous statement by Susan Eisrich, Black's attorney, who said, after an exhaustive investigation more than 4 years ago, the Deckert law firm concluded that Mr. Black paid Epstein only for tax and estate planning advice that saved him and his family billions of dollars. Do you think that at any point someone's going to come back and be like, yeah, actually, we were participating in that human trafficking, it turns out? That's weird. It's weird that nobody has just openly came back after doing investigations on themselves and come back and just been like, holy shit, guys, it turns out we were doing some human trafficking. It's fucking mind-boggling. Where are the Trump supporters? Where is MAGA? I thought this is what you cared about the most. Where are all these people that were so up in arms about Epstein? You know where they're at? They're licking Donald Trump's beehole. Just tongue so deep in that fucking thing. just talking about like he's actually the greatest president of all time. He should build an Arc Day Trump to himself. Yeah, who cares that he destroyed the East Wing? It's not that big of a deal. Actually, he's doing great things, breaking up them families and putting them kids in zip ties. That's what they're doing. Because they're not good people. Let's just be fucking honest. Call a spade a spade. These people never cared about kids. They only cared about owning the liberals. And now they don't give any shits at all about the Epstein files being released. They don't care. To imply that Epstein somehow had influence over Mr. Black is false and patently absurd. That's exactly what you would say if you were full of shit. Indeed, it was Mr. Black who fired Epstein because he was disruptive and believed the fees for his services were excessive. The Deckert report also found that Mr. Black had no knowledge of Epstein's criminal activities. You don't say. 20 years. Millions of dollars. $170 million. In response to the news of the suspicious activity report's contents, Dershowitz, who was one of Epstein's criminal defense lawyers, told the New York Times, "The only funds I ever received from Jeffrey Epstein were payment for my legal services based on my hourly rates." A spokesperson for the Durbins told The Independent, "During this 16-year period, there were 12 transactions between the parties, all of which related to charitable giving, personal gifts, or business matters." Personal gifts, you say. These transactions, which have all been previously reported, bore no connection whatsoever to the abhorrent conduct later revealed in relation to Mr. Epstein, as Glenn and Ava Durbin, once again, who was Epstein's ex-girlfriend, have previously stated they were horrified to learn of his vile and unspeakable actions. Former girlfriend of Epstein, now Durbin's wife, horrified to find out the guy she was dating was doing these things. You've got to be just the dumbest human beings on earth to not see the connections between all this shit, man. Jesus Christ. JP Morgan, the U.S. largest bank, is also under increased scrutiny after it worked with Epstein for over a decade, during which he is believed to have abused over 200 young women and girls as young as 14. All to himself, though, guys. Just himself. 200 young women just to himself. That was it. However, a spokesperson for the bank stated that the documents indicated JP Morgan had made repeated efforts to alert regulators to concerns surrounding Epstein by filing suspicious activity reports, after he was dead. After he was dead. You notice every one of these people spoke out after he was dead. After he was dead. It does not appear that anyone in the government or law enforcement acted on those SARS for years. Turns out that Donald Trump's administration in 2019 had no reason to react to those reports from Morgan even after he was dead. It does not appear... Okay, sorry. And according to the Times, the bank also said it regretted its involvement with Epstein, but was not aware of his sexual abuse. It's just over and over and over again. Wexner, Black, Dershowitz. The names keep coming up over and over and over again. Look, I've said before, there is definitely a case to be made that not every single person that had any interaction with Epstein did something or knew something inappropriate about what he was doing. But when the names continue to come up over and over and over again in transactions, there's pictures, there's videos, whether it's Clinton or it's Trump or it's Black or it's Wexner, where there's smoke, there's fire. And if these people did not do anything, then they deserve their day in court. But the fact that this administration now is saying none of this even happened, it's a hoax. Obama wrote this up. Biden wrote this up. Comey wrote this up. You've got to be the dumbest human beings on earth to think that this is a conspiracy that was created by Biden, Comey, and Obama when there are 4,700 emails just released that include information that was sent to Donald Trump in 2019 referring to these financial transactions. Did Obama and Biden go and make a bunch of fucking transactions between Russia and send money between all of these banks and then to Wexner or Black or Durbin? It's insane. Where are you at, Trump supporters? Where are you at, MAGA?
I love the poorly educated.
Where you at? All right. And there's one more Epstein that I want to go over. I want to go over one more Epstein. Y'all see those pathetic anti-Prop 50 ads? Already voted, Golf. Yes on Prop 50, baby. Yes on Prop 50. Already voted. There's tons of no on Prop 50 in my neighborhood, but it don't matter. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. They're being outspent by so fucking much money. Even Republicans don't want to give money to this shit, dude. Republicans don't want to give money to no on 50. Kevin Kiley going to lose his job. Doug LaMalfa going to lose his job. Dolly going to lose his job. All of these California Republicans that should have stood up for their constituents in California about to lose their jobs. And they fucking deserve it. Prop 50 is the redistricting in California, Etch. That is, I think it's potentially going to give California 5 more blue seats in Congress. And it is scaring the shit out of Republicans right now in California. LaMalfa is begging. Kiley is calling Mike Johnson an idiot. Like, he's like, the shutdown is hurting my people. Like, it's so funny to see because, you know, the thing about California is to be a Republican in California, you still have to, you know, play by the old rules. Like, that you still have to be more of a moderate conservative. And now they're having to lean not moderate conservative, but almost fucking centrist, because they're hoping that they can play centrist and get enough like Democratic votes in the next election cycle to keep their seats. And I'm going to tell you this right now, that ain't happening. They're going to lose those seats, and it's going to be their own goddamn fault. 100%. Yes on 50. Yep, Virginia's making steps forward too. Exactly, Alan. And they all should. Every blue state should be talking about gerrymandering red districts out of existence. You want to play, then we play. You know, it's a Tupac quote. You know, if you know the rules of the game, feel free to play. And guess who made these rules? Trump made these rules. Republicans made these rules. Mike Johnson made these rules. This didn't start until Texas said that they're going to do what they decided to do. You don't like that California's doing that shit? You don't like that Virginia is doing that shit? Go fuck yourself. Don't care. Don't fucking care. You live in California, you don't like that shit, you got a no on 50 in your yard? Get the fuck out. Drive on, motherfucker. We don't want you here. Like, go to Texas, bro. Go to Florida. Go somewhere else. Because we don't want no fucking kings. Thank you, but no thank you. All right. We need to talk about the rest of the Epstein stuff. So, there's this video. First, I want to watch with you guys. And then we're going to talk about Prince Andrew. So, this is a video from BBC talking about Andrew needing to come to America and testify about what he knows about Epstein. Stop covering this shit up.
As with any ordinary member of the public, if there were requests from another jurisdiction of this kind, I would expect any decently minded person to comply with that request. Just so I feel exactly the same in this situation. Sorry, there were an awful lot of words in that sentence. What I'm basically saying is that I think that if Andrew is asked to do something by a Senate committee, then I would have thought that he would want to comply.
Yeah, you would think that he would want to comply. Why doesn't Andrew, right? Prince Andrew, who has already been stripped of all his titles, already was sued by Giuffre and settled with her. Why wouldn't Andrew want to testify? Why? Because he knows that extremely powerful people people more powerful than Andrew even them, even more powerful than Andrew, are in those files. And those people will probably come to get him. So you know that he doesn't want to do anything about that. Andrew faces pressure as new emails to Epstein are published and Democrats call on him to testify. So this is probably part of that 4,700 emails that were just released on Friday. Democrats investigating Jeffrey Epstein have intensified their calls for Britain's former Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor to answer their questions about his links to the disgraced financier days after King Charles stripped his younger brother of his title. I mean, we're talking about the fucking royal family. First of all, fuck stripping him of his title. He needs to go to prison. Like, if there is evidence, once again, I'm not asking for any of these people to be thrown in prison without a trial. Every one of these people, regardless of how terrible of human beings they are, deserve due process. This man is not even American. He needs to be put on trial. The evidence needs to be shown to a jury. And then if he is convicted, he needs to go to prison. Not just have his titles stripped, not just be admonished, not just have to pay the victim some money. This dude needs to be on trial. And to see even them go as far as stripping him of the title just tells you how real this is. But Kash Patel is telling you that, no, Andrew didn't get trafficked too. Because Epstein didn't traffic anybody to anybody, guys. That's what Kash Patel is telling you. The calls for Andrew to testify came as new emails emerged showing he suggested a catch-up with Epstein just months after the notorious pedo was released from prison. Dude just got out of prison being found guilty for harming a 14-year-old girl, soliciting sex from her, and this motherfucker is sending him "what you doing" texts. Yo, we need to catch up. Where you at, Trump supporters? Where you at, MAGA? This dude ain't even American. You ain't even calling for this dude. Why? Because you're scared. Because you know that this motherfucker right here is going to say somebody's name that you like. Several Democratic members of the House Oversight Committee told the BBC that Andrew should voluntarily testify before Congress. Suhas Subramaniam said Saturday that if the former prince wants to do the right thing by the victims, he will come forward, noting that his name has been mentioned many times in survivors' accounts. Fellow committee member Krishnamurthy urged Andrew to come and testify and tell us what you know during a Friday interview with Stephen Lynch, saying Andrew's testimony might be helpful in getting justice for survivors. Committee member Ro Khanna echoed the calls in an interview with the Guardian newspaper, saying Andrews should be called to testify. No Republicans on the committee have publicly called for Andrews to testify, and no formal subpoena has been issued. No Republicans are asking for him to testify. Like, does this shit need to be written in fucking neon pink letters across Trump supporters' fucking foreheads? Is that the only way that these people are going to get this? If they have to stare in the mirror every day and see Republicans are covering for Epstein's fucking clients. You know, if you wrote this shit in neon pink across these morons' foreheads, they would never look in the mirror again. They couldn't make eye contact with another human being. They can't now. Why don't Republicans want a person that legit has been mentioned by multiple survivors, including one that said, I was hoping that Trump would just release the files. Virginia Giuffre. She said, I didn't have bad interactions with Donald Trump. I just want him to release the files. I hope he does. Where are the files? And look, we watched that Sean Ryan video the other day, where Sean Ryan, not a Democrat, not a liberal, called out Kash Patel for lying, called out Don Bongino for lying, called out Donald Trump for covering up the Epstein files. And in that video, once again, not a Democrat, not a liberal, Sean Ryan said, even if they release them now, nobody's going to believe it. because we know what you're doing now. You can't, there's no way that you release redacted files, manipulated files at this point in anybody other than MAGA Republicans fall for that shit. No one else is falling for that shit. We all know the names that have been mentioned over and over and over again at this point. If we see files that come out that are written in crayon that say Obama, Nancy Pelosi, ain't nobody gonna believe that shit. Not even your moderate conservatives. And just to be clear, because I said this before. I've said this before. Because I've had some conservatives in my comments that say, yo, dude, like, we're with you. Like, we want to see these Epstein files released. Two things. One, you need to call out fucking Donald Trump. Okay? He's the one covering this shit up. Even if you don't want to believe his ass is in those files, you know 100% that he is covering for the people that are in those files, and those two pictures are the same. If you are a person covering up pedophilia, you're a terrible fucking human being, and you deserve to go to prison. And if you're a person committing it, you definitely deserve to go to fucking prison. So if you're a conservative and you're in my comments, you're saying, we believe this shit too, we believe this shit too. We want to see him too. A, you need to be calling out Donald Trump. Okay? B, you need to be riding. You need to be right here with us. You need to be fucking talking about this stuff all the time too. And when that list comes out, and there's not a fucking single person that Donald Trump is somehow related to, connected to, or friends with, whatever, you need to call that shit out. You need to say, those aren't the files, motherfucker. We know, because you know that is the final plan. The final plan, the Hail Mary, the nuclear option, is Donald Trump releasing a ChatGPT version that's like Eminem, Joe Biden. New emails between Andrew and Epstein released on Friday in unsealed court documents have added to the scrutiny. In April 2010, less than a year after Epstein's release from prison for soliciting minors, Andrew wrote that it would be good to catch up in person. What do you think that's code for, guys? Epstein had proposed that Andrew meet American baker Jess Staley in London. I want to know some shit about Jess Staley. But Andrew replied that he would be out of the country and might drop by the New York later in the year. I'll look and see if I can make a couple of days before the summer, he wrote. Andrew and Epstein were pictured together in New York Central Park in December of 2010. In other words, they fucking hooked up. A meeting Andrew had previously said was to end their friendship. That account was challenged last month when the Mail on Sunday and the Sun on Sunday newspapers published another email reported to have been sent by Andrew to Epstein in 2011. When will people wake up to this? If a person says, oh no, I never had anything to do with Epstein, and then emails show up, and it shows that they had something to do with Epstein, and then that person says, oh, I knew in 2009 he was a creep because he got, in trouble for doing that shit with that 14-year-old, so then I cut off my relationship. But then it shows that they sent him emails in 2010. And then they say, yo, well, in 2010, the only reason I was there was because I was ending that relationship. But then they show emails in 2011. At what point do you say to yourself, I think this guy might be lying to me? And I know for Trump supporters, that's not a question because Donald Trump's been lying to them for fucking 10 plus years now. And they're just like, they just take that bait over and over and over again. We are in this together, the newspaper reported. The email read, play some more soon. Play some more soon. What is that code for? Andrew, who just 2 weeks ago announced he would relinquish the use of his Duke of York title, was on Thursday formally stripped of it, as well as his status as a prince, and effectively evicted from the 30-room mansion where he has lived for more than 20 years. Pressure mounted following the posthumous publication of late Epstein survivor of Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir, which details her allegations that Andrew had sex with her on multiple occasions. Andrew reached a legal settlement with Giuffre for an undisclosed amount in February 2022 after she filed a civil case against him in New York court accusing him of sexually assaulting her when she was 17. He has repeatedly denied having met her and previously denied that a photograph of the two of them is real. Like, this is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Prince William will head to Brazil next week for an award ceremony for his multi-million-dollar environmental prize, hoping to refocus attention away from his Uncle Andrew in one of the most bruising royal scandals in recent history. And look, here's the thing. We know that this isn't just something that is just the most powerful people. This is something where people, if they have enough status, they can get away with whatever. It just really depended on who you know, right? Just recently, I was just telling my wife about this, and this is a fucking terrible story. So, first of all, trigger warning, okay? This is a terrible story. And if you guys want to know something that you should be absolutely just through the fucking roof upset about right now, there's a young man, I believe he's 17, that raped 2 girls that he had been in a relationship with. 2 girls that this young man had been in a relationship with. He's a baseball player. And he choked and raped both of these young women multiple times, recorded himself doing it, recorded himself choking these women, these young women, these kids. One of these kids went to the hospital and had to have surgery done on her throat. And the doctor said if he had continued to choke her for just a little bit longer, she would have died. And she ended up having to have surgery to fix the problems with her throat. This kid was facing multiple counts, 10 or 11 counts, 78 years in prison. 78 years in prison he was facing. The prosecutor made a deal with the defense team for 150 hours of community service. And if you ask yourself, how does that happen? How would something like that happen? How could this miscarriage of justice take place in America? Well, it turns out the kid's dad is a very popular baseball coach for the high school team where they're from and has connections to people in the local government. This is a pox on society. And it doesn't just happen with the Prince Andrews and the Jeffrey Epsteins and the Donald Trumps. It also happens in small communities with people that have connections in local government as well. I mean, at one point or another, you got to start setting examples. You know, at one point or another, if you can't even hold a 17-year-old that's got videotapes of him doing this stuff, you know, in a small town, what hope is there for people that have been abused by super powerful people, right? What hope is there to when you have somebody like Prince Andrew do something like that? What hope is there? Like, it's just insane. We have one more thing on the Epstein thing, and then we'll move on to other stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and not cover this stuff. I know that it's tough to listen to. I know that it's not something that people want to have to rehash over and over again, but it's something that we need to talk about. We need to continue to talk about. So we're going to cover one more thing on the Epstein files that just came out again recently about Alexander Acosta, I believe it is, over these emails that just came out on Friday as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Don't make me laugh, Free Dunk. Trying to do this. Ex-Trump official in hot water as new Epstein probe exposes trove of incriminating emails. This is a beautiful thing right here. This right here is beautiful. This is, I believe, what they did in what was it? Donald Trump hangs a banner hangs in Grand Park during a protest against federal migration enforcement in downtown Los Angeles. This is in Los Angeles. I thought this was the one that was over in Britain, but that's too funny. Good. Keep it going. We're just keep fucking talking. Keep talking about it. Federal prosecutors expanded their investigation of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged sex trafficking network to examine whether the disgraced financier was engaged in money laundering, according to a new review of his personal email account. And of course, this goes back to the billions of dollars that were going to Wexner, to Durbin, to Black, to Dershowitz. This is all part of those same emails that came out, including the ones that we just talked about, that talked about Prince Andrew talking to Epstein well after he said he had stopped, right? Bloomberg reviewed documents and emails from Epstein's personal Yahoo account that show lead prosecutor Marina Villafana, then assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida, requested grand jury subpoenas in 2007 for every financial transaction he had engaged in for the previous 4 years. Sources say prosecutors also subpoenaed major banks for records about his accounts and financial activity. So Villafana is the prosecutor that had put forth something like 60 counts against Epstein. And then Acosta, of course, was the person who had the relationship with the previous relationship was it one of the other prosecutors, Jeremy, whatever his name, had a relationship with a defense attorney. So one of the prosecutorial attorneys had a relationship with one of the defense attorneys. And when Villafana had put forth all of these counts against Epstein, Acosta said he never even knew that she had. Never even knew that she had done that. Oh, we went with these other counts because we were afraid he was going to get off and get away. So we went with those. Oh, she had a bunch of other accounts? Oh, no. We didn't know anything about that. Bullshit. This is all bullshit. Every little bit of this is bullshit. Epstein grew furious when he learned that prosecutors had broadened their investigation scopes, the emails show. His high-powered team of lawyers, including Gerald Lefcourt, Harvard Law School professor Alan Dershowitz, former Bush administration official Jay Lefkowitz, and former independent counsel Kenneth Starr, argued that Villafana was pursuing baseless claims to pressure their client into a plea deal. They launched an aggressive campaign to discredit her attempts to follow the money and pressured her higher-ups to remove her and others from the case or scuttle the case entirely. Kenneth Starr. It's a familiar name, isn't it? The fact that Jeffrey Epstein had connections to be able to push for this to be scuttled, gotten rid of, alone tells you the amount of corruption that is going on within this case. The money laundering probe raises new questions about congressional testimony last month from Alex Acosta, who was a secretary for Donald Trump in his original administration, 2016, 2017. The former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida, who ultimately signed off on Epstein's fucking amazingly nice plea deal. Acosta told the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform that he didn't recall any discussion of potential financial crimes as part of his office's Epstein investigation. Yet the emails and documents from Epstein's Yahoo account show that prosecutors in his office discussed the financial crimes component of the investigation with Acosta and copied him on correspondence about it. So he said, no, I didn't even know that they was that something? Oh, I wasn't sure. I did that a long time ago. I don't really remember it. Yet there are emails now that show that he was copied on those decisions. There are emails on there that show that he was discussing with them those decisions. Records obtained as part of the money laundering probe were stored at the U.S. Attorney's Office in a folder titled Money Laundering, which contains attorney research and handwritten notes, according to a partial list of the government's evidence that was filed in a related court proceeding. The documents and emails reviewed by Bloomberg do not reveal what investigators learned about Epstein's alleged money laundering or other important details, but a former law enforcement official told reporters the investigation lasted 18 months and found at least tens of millions of dollars in questionable financial transaction. By the way, when people say, why didn't Biden release the Epstein files? This 18 months was under fucking Biden. They were investigating all of this under Joe Biden. So for all the people that are like, Joe Biden didn't release the Epstein files, they were investigating all of this shit under Joe Biden. These new details only raise additional questions about Acosta's truthfulness, said Senator Ron Wyden, who's the guy who, he's the one, him and the other Republican, once again, under Biden, had started looking into the financial transactions between Epstein and all of these other people. Wyden has been willing to release all of the information that he has, that he accrued. The Republican, I can't remember which Republican it was, but that Republican has refused to release any information that he garnered during that time. Whose staff has investigated Epstein's financial work. The best case scenario, according to his story, is that it was by incompetence rather than by choice that he allowed Epstein to go on trafficking women and girls for another decade. I don't know if I agree with that. He's saying that it's incompetence is the reason that he let this happen. But he is saying that's best case scenario. So in other words, worst case scenario, he was complicit. Wyden, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, said in July that the panel had reviewed records held by the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, that showed major banks had facilitated more than $1.5 billion in payments that Epstein used to traffic women or engage in dubious transactions indicative of money laundering. Money laundering charges surely would have been a centerpiece of any serious prosecution aimed at bringing Epstein down for good, Wyden told Bloomberg, adding that the decision to drop that aspect of the case as part of the plea agreement was a staggering miscarriage of justice. An attorney for Acosta told Bloomberg that the existence of a financial probe into Epstein's dealings would not be inconsistent with what Acosta, President Donald Trump's former Treasury Secretary, told the committee. Back in 2016, the Southern District employed over 200 attorneys and at any given moment conducted countless investigations, said attorney Jeffrey Neiman. Although Mr. Acosta approved the terms of the Epstein matter, he did not direct that investigation or any investigation for that matter. If evidence of financial wrongdoing existed, no agreement prevented the Department of Justice from pursuing it in many years following Epstein's sex crimes prosecution. Yeah, they were actually pursuing it after that, under Biden. Like I said, Acosta was copied on those emails. Acosta was talked to in those emails. Either Acosta, I can't remember, or the other prosecutorial attorney in that case had a relationship with one of the defense attorneys prior to this investigation. There is so much misconduct in this investigation surrounding his 2019 guilty plea, in which he was giving a sweetheart deal that was later found to be illegal by judges that said that they had not discussed that deal with the victims or defendants. There's so much about this that is absolutely fucking insane. And I am once again calling on everybody, whether MAGA Republican, conservative, liberal, or progressive, to not just sweep this under the rug. Don't let all this other bullshit that's going on right now, let them distract you from the fact that they don't want this shit being talked about. My channel does not get a lot of views. My channel gets as many as a channel my size gets on average. Where are all the people still talking about this? Why is no one else talking about this? Because the only thing that matters to people is clicks and views. Rage bait. Bullshit. The Epstein files need to be a centerpiece, a topic of any and every liberal, democratic, conservative, whatever's streaming and political essays. Don't just let them sweep this under the rug, guys. Don't just let them sweep this under the rug. Okay. What else do we have here? Speaking of how pathetic people are right now. Let's not get into that one yet. How about Titus? What do you guys think? How about Titus? Do we have an anime Biden? Did somebody show an anime Biden? I didn't see an anime Biden. Your channel is totally average size. All that matters is that viewers are satisfied. Thank you. Thank you, Redonk. I am now not so insecure about my size. Luck Dragon, I can't root against Canada right now, for I am trying to move there. Luck Dragon, good call. Solid call. When they see you speaking poorly of the Blue Jays in your phone, dude, you are in big trouble. You're not getting in. All right, guys. Let's watch some Titus. Let's watch some Titus, guys. Christopher Titus just put out a new video. Armageddon update. I don't know how old this is. But we're going to watch this. We're going to watch this. This is called The White Man's House. Is Christopher Titus not, as far as all of the people that we have found, like all of the streamers, all of the content creators, older comedians, politicians, of all of those people that we have found, is not Christopher Titus quite possibly the best one? Tell me, guys. Tell me, do you guys think? Drop some comments for me, okay? Is Christopher Titus the best? Because I'm willing to say he is. I'm willing to say that Christopher Titus is the best thing we found in this last 2 years. Let's watch some Christopher Titus.
I'm Christopher Titus, people, and this is the Armageddon Update, the People's House, the White House. Okay, except for that one time. It's always been the white man's house. And it's...
Dude, look at that. Hold on, what is Funny Valentine? What is that shit? Dude, I saw a lot of white dudes. A lot of white dudes. Barack Obama actually looks white because he's surrounded by all that white. Like, no shit, guys. Imagine being sandwiched. Okay, ladies, put your safety earmuffs on, because this is going to sound different to you guys. And also gay dudes. Also, earmuffs for you guys as well. Imagine being sandwiched between George W. Bush and Donald J. Trump. Okay? That's not a good feeling. That's not a good feeling.
Their destruction by a con.
Pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of. It's my favorite.
This ballless grifter will construct a 90,000 square foot ballroom, whereas the White House itself is only 55,000 square feet.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that the ballroom's gonna be bigger than the actual White House. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, guys. They're really just building that bunker, aren't they? That's really what they're doing. That's that's 90,000, 9,000. You say 90,000 or 9,000? Hold on.
A 90,000 square foot.
90,000 square foot. They're just building a giant bunker, aren't they? Have you guys watched Billionaire's Bunker? Have you guys watched the Netflix show Billionaire's Bunker? If you haven't, you need to watch that shit. Okay? If you haven't watched the Billionaire's Bunker, you guys got to watch that shit. Are they building the Billionaire's Bunker underneath the East Wing right now? 90,000 square feet? There's no way that's just for the ballroom. Look, I started the show by saying all the Trump admins moving onto the Air Force bases or the military bases. There's no way that that's because they're scared for their lives. Like, there's something going on, guys. They're building a 90,000 square foot ballroom. There's some shit underneath there, guys.
Ballroom, whereas the White House itself is only 55,000 square feet. Because small men need big things because the things they have.
Imagine if he had built it in the shape of a dick.
Are super tiny. Stormy.
Little ding
He got
ding.
no approval. He got no plans. Same with paving over the Rose Garden. No approval, no plans. Again, here's the Rose Garden before our 6 times.
Oh, man. Look, I'm a poor kid. I grew up in a trailer park. I grew up in Bakersfield, man. Like, seeing that much grass. Like, dude, there's not that much grass in all of Bakersfield, guys. It is nothing but dirt and one really lonely palm tree. To see something like that get paved over and have a bunch of fucking like cheap Home Depot tables and chairs put on it with a bunch of really shoddy looking yellow and white umbrellas hurts my heart in a way that I just cannot explain.
Bankrupt president. Here it is now. After the Sith Lord of skid marks, the dawn of...
It's a mall. It's a mall shopping center.
Of diapers turned it into a strip mall food court.
Yeah.
Here's what he said about what he was going to do to the White House.
Won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it.
Why does he make that sound fucking vaguely sexual? Like he sounds like he's about to essay somebody. Why is Hunter Hearst Helmsley? Like, this shit is idiocracy. It's idiocracy. Why is Hunter Hearst Helmsley standing next to the President of the United States? Have you guys seen the video where Hunter Hearst Triple H where Triple H does his fucking spit move coming out of the White House? Oh my God.
And pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of. It's my favorite.
I know, he lied. Impossible, right?
Right.
But let's look at the White House itself. First of all, the cornerstone was laid by George Washington in 1792. It was supposed to be finished in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
But it took 8 years and was completed in 1800, while the Trump's ancestors lived in Germany. Just a note, the Titus family had already been here in America for 165 years, which means some Tituses were fired from the White House construction crew for being drunk. And during the War of 1812, the British burned it down. In 1814, President James Monroe moved back in 3 years after being told the rebuild would take
2 weeks. Really?
Over the years, there have been renovations. The South Portico was constructed in 1824 and the North Portico in 1829 during the Monroe and Jackson administrations, respectively. Also, regarding another Monroe, we had the John F. Kennedy unofficial booty room. Yeah, you're not going to get that from the White House tour.
Wait, you think Donald Trump kept that one? You would think Donald Trump would keep that one. You would think that Donald Trump would have kept the booty room.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
So, the White House has been changed and rebuilt many
Wait, do you guys think that Donald Trump has a nussy room? I bet he has a room just for his moist nussy.
times before Trump's illegal immigrant grandfather got here in 1885 while running from the military draft in Germany. You know.
Oh, no shit! Like father, like son!
Like a chicken shit. Anyway, the White House, our house, has been molested by Trump like it was 13 on Epstein's Island. Yeah.
Ooh. You know somebody that hasn't stopped talking about the Epstein files? Look, it's me and Titus. The two most trailer park people on YouTube. We're the only people keeping the Epstein files in front of people, man. We're like the only people, me and Titus.
A man whose immigrant family has screwed colored people from living in their buildings, who has tried to get innocent men executed, whose grandfather was a chicken shit draft-dodging pimp who ran a brothel in the Yukon, and his grandson was best friends with a sex trafficking pedophile who made $1 billion selling underage girls to other wealthy pedophiles.
What? When I said like father, like son, I didn't think that I would be that spot on. Apparently I need to, what is it? That's his grandfather, not his father. Like grandfather, like son? Like grandfather, like son, I guess is what I'm saying. Dude, how can people, I was going to say, how can people hear this kind of shit and then say to themselves, oh, like Donald Trump actually, he's never met, like his whole family has been a part of this for like ever. Like, why would it surprise anybody that Donald Trump was friends with a sex trafficker? It's fucking mind-boggling. Trump supporters are like the hardest people to understand.
You know, the American dream. And now he's raping our White House. I don't think the construction will ever be finished. Because after your immigration policies, Trump, who you going to get to build it? I'm Christopher
Some really bad white people.
Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. I can't believe that this illegal immigrant family douchebag is fucking up our White House so bad. He just destroyed it. It's not even going to be touching it. Not touching it. You took down half of it, you dipshit. I hate this guy so much.
Oh, man.
I love the poorly educated.
What do you say to any of this insanity that hasn't already been said over and over again on this channel? there's no bar too low. No bar too low. And I'm 100%, guys. I do not think that that's for the ballroom. 100% I believe that they are building a bunker to escape from the nuclear war that they are about to fucking start with Vladimir Putin. Like, I mean, they're moving on to military bases. They're building a ballroom that's larger than the White House itself. You're not going to convince me that these people they have either figured out that, yes, climate change is real and shit's about to fucking hit the fan, right? Or they know that they've been fucking with Putin for so long and Trump's insane and that he's going to start World War III and we're going to get nuked. There's, like, for me, what other answer? Give me some other answer. You guys drop me a comment, okay? What other answers are there? Give me some other answers. All right. Let's see. We both love you too, Jen. Okay? Thank you, Jen. In a flat earth world, low and high bars don't exist. Prove me wrong. Bo? I mean, functionally speaking, I don't think I can. They don't believe in mountains or holes either. Yeah, that's what we started with covering, Jen, was on all the politicians, or not politicians, all the administration people moving indoor bowling. Maybe we've all heard him wrong, Manic. Maybe he didn't say a ballroom. Maybe he said a bowling room. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what he's been saying this whole time. He's hiding his Twinkies down there. Is that a Zombieland reference, RA? Because if it is, high fucking fi. Vlad, not G. I think Vlad has the better nuclear weapons stash. Redunk. G. China could like put together a really fucking solid army in almost no time. Their shipbuilding capabilities are like out of this world. But I would be more concerned about Vlad pushing the big red button than Xi getting together. Xi's looking to take Taiwan by 27. So China is like more of a long-term threat, and Putin and Russia are more of a short-term threat. That's what I would say about that. Let's see. You made a funny. Master Slitter. I remember that, Bo, for that movie. I remember that. The only reason why Donald Trump turned Republican from Democrat was because he was canceled from Hollywood. Well, and it was the easiest way to pander. Could you see Stephen Miller being in a fist fight? No. Stephen Miller would get fucking mopped up, son. Look, I actually can believe that Stephen Miller moved to the military base for his own good. Because if Stephen Miller had to fight a fucking Portlandia blue-haired liberal with a nose ring, he'd still lose that fight. Stephen Miller would get mopped the fuck up, dude. It would not even be there wouldn't be a chance. Although I still, to this day, am willing to say I would like to see an Elon Musk Stephen Miller fight. Like, I would pay money, pay-per-view, Dana White. You hear me, dog. Like, hook that shit up. Elon Musk versus Stephen Miller. And they get to win the fucking weird-ass Katie Miller chick. Like, whoever wins gets Katie Miller. Like, I will pay money for that. Or whatever accounts for money in 10 years. Like, whatever we're trading at that point. Probably my b-hole, okay? It's the only thing that's going to be worth anything at that point. Maybe Trump's really into miniature trains. I think he's into trains, dude. I don't think they're the type of trains you're talking about. All right, let's talk about MTG, guys. I know that's a weird thing for me to say and not follow by saying Jewish space lasers. I know that's a weird thing for me to say and not talk about her, previous QAnon connections. How weird of a world do we live in, guys? When a woman, because we don't know, that previously had connections to QAnon, guys, when we're talking about her being the voice of reason in the Republican Party. How weird is this world right now? Guys, I don't know how much longer I can do these streams. Marjorie Taylor Greene unleashes on pathetic Republican men. Dude, look at that. Look at it. That is some sun damage right there, guys. Can you guys getting that? Oh man. That is too much time in the sun, right, guys? That is potentially skin cancer. I'm just, as a ginger, look, this is my wheelhouse. You guys can talk a lot of trash about me. You can say maybe I'm not the most educated political commentator on YouTube. Still growing, still learning. Okay? You guys can say that I don't know anything about hair products. Okay? You guys can say a lot of things about me, but I can tell you one thing that I know a lot about, and that is whether or not you will eventually get skin cancer one day. Okay? Sorry for the eyes. So leathery. I left that one up for a little bit too long. I'm sorry about that, guys. MAGA rep Marjorie Taylor Greene has lashed out at pathetic Republican men, criticizing her ahead of an upcoming media blitz. Greene, who has risen from fringe QAnon supporting conspiracy theorists to an unlikely voice of reason within the GOP, is scheduled to appear on ABC News' The View on Tuesday and HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher on Friday. What? What? No way. The View, guys? I knew about Bill Maher. Also, I don't pre-read these articles. So I just go off the headlines. I'm like, this shit's going to be fire. Okay? I didn't know she was going on The View. And also, this article literally wrote what I said. So AI probably just caught that and just wrote this article a few minutes ago. She's going on The View, guys. It's going on The View. The Georgia lawmaker's appearance comes as the Trump loyalist has become increasingly critical of her own party's leadership on foreign policy, the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein's file saga, and the government shutdown. Okay. Give credit where credit is due, guys. I said it was just me and Titus talking about the Epstein files. Shout out to Ro Khanna. Shout out to Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. And shout out, guys. I bet you didn't have this on your bingo card. Shout out to MTG, guys. Shout out to Marjorie Taylor Greene for fucking keeping the Epstein files in the news. No way. Laura Loomer did say she had Arby's in her pants, Mitchell. Oh, her skin looks like Arby's. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. There are pathetic Republican men, mostly paid social media influencers, attacking me for going on Bill Maher's show and The View. Greene posted on X. Let's take a look at it. Let's just take a look at the X. There are pathetic Republican men, mostly paid social media influencers, attacking me for going on Bill Maher's show and The View. Here is my voting card, and nothing has changed about me. I am 1,000,000% America only. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I don't obey Republican men's demands that I, as a woman, don't remain seen but not heard. What is that English? As a woman, don't remain... Okay. Too many commas, brother. I'm from the trailer park. Look at this. Look at the comments, guys. If Marjorie will cheat on her husband, she'll cheat on MAGA. Oh, they are losing it. They're losing it, guys. Oh. Republican men, Liberty score. You're making the liberal media tour. CNN, The View, Bill Maher. Your actions and words belong to you and you alone, not Republican men, not social media, not the president, just you. Stop blaming other. Here's where you lost it. Let's see what this clip is. Let's see what this clip is. Guys, we're doing this together. We're doing this together. This is Steve Bannon's War Room, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I tell you what, 6 months in, Steve, and here we are, turning back on the campaign promises, and we bombed Iran on behalf of Israel. Yes, it was on behalf of Israel. We're entering a nuclear war, the World War III, because the entire world is going to erupt. And you want to know the people that are cheering it on right now? Their tune is going to drastically change the minute we start seeing flag draped coffins on the nightly news.
Based? Fucking based? That's not fucking, there's absolutely, I don't want to agree. All right, guys? I'm not saying she's a good person. I wouldn't vote for Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, if it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, apparently if it was Marjorie Taylor Greene versus fucking Donald Trump, apparently I want Marjorie Taylor Greene. Wow, don't clip that. Don't clip I want Marjorie Taylor Greene, please. Oh no. My mind is breaking. My brain is breaking, guys.
On Fox News that brainwashes all the baby boomers, and on CNN that brainwashes all the Democrat baby boomers. And that is exactly how this is going to go down. And, you know, the AI portion, I want to address that, Steve, that's a bunch of crap. They should have never put that poison pill in the House version of the One Big Beautiful Bill in the first place. I am a 100% no.
She's talking about the no regulation on AI for 10 years that they snuck into the Big Beautiful Bill. Is she watching, like, Democrat media or something? Is she, like, watching fucking Brian Tyler Cohen? Luke Beasley? I think she is watching Luke Beasley. I think I saw that somewhere. She's been watching Luke Beasley.
Vote if it is still there.
I think Luke Beasley changed Marjorie Taylor Greene, guys. Prove me wrong.
Because I get to vote again. I get to vote on it again when it comes back to the House. And I am not voting for a 10-year moratorium on state rights to make regulations and laws on AI. That is absurd. And the One Big Beautiful Bill is about taxes, energy, and border security. And that's exactly what it should be. So
okay, all right. Why? How is that an own? How did Ever Earnest Man think that was an own? Why did she sign it? Okay, why are you making me defend Marjorie Taylor Greene, Alan? That's not cool, dude. Why are you making me do this? God damn it. The moratorium on AI was removed from the bill. It was 99 out of 100 people signed to remove the AI moratorium from the bill. It was later introduced, I believe, in the Genius Act, which is definitely not a Genius Act. And I do believe that passed. But I believe the way that they are dealing with it is that if you try to regulate AI, that the federal government will attempt to hold back funding on for state stuff. That's what I believe. She hate watches Luke Beasley. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's working. Maybe it's working. Good job, Luke Beasley. It's a W. Sorry, MTG, you're missing the mark with your anti-Israel rhetoric. Something you might want to remember, MTG, Republicans better realize there are 80 million Trump supporters, not 80 million GOP supporters. That's actually not even fucking true. MAGA makes up something like 23% of the Republican Party. Oh my God. It's so funny. They're so butthurt. Okay, let's not accidentally go back to that. Also, does not MTG looks stoned right there. Is she hitting the ganja? Is she hitting the ganja? Is that what's happening? Is Marjorie Taylor Greene awakening because she has opened her mind with the ganja? Is that what's going on, guys? Okay. Her post included a screenshot showing her 100% Liberty score. Oh, she has a Liberty. That's what that guy was talking about. She has a 100% Liberty score, a grade system from conservative review based on whether lawmakers voting record supports conservative positions. Yeah, no, Marjorie, you can't use statistics and facts. How does she not know this? You can't use like real information when convincing Trump supporters of stuff. You have to say like insane shit. Like I have a 3 trillion% Liberty score. And they're like, yeah, hell yeah, you do. You're a woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Have you not figured out that you are never going to be respected as a Republican? I mean, you're not going to be respected as a Democrat either because you already done sold yourself like down that river with the QAnon shit and the Trump dick licking. Okay, like, you done. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that feels bad for me because I am, like, actually agreeing with her right now. All right? I'm actually agreeing with her right now, but also at the same time, there is no hope for you, lady. You are Dunsky. This is the last time you will probably ever be voted into office. I wonder what's going to happen with Georgia. The View host Whoopi Goldberg announced Thursday that Green will join the show during its Election Day coverage on November 4th, which is next week, when several races, including the New York mayoral re-election, will be happening across the country. We might have to watch that. Green did not name which pathetic men attacked her, but the news drew significant MAGA pushback. Xavier Durousseau, a conservative social media influencer that I've never fucking heard about, posted to his 282,000 X followers, "This may cost us the midterms, and I'm not even kidding." Red Eagles Politics, a pro-Trump political YouTuber, spotted a conspiracy. MTG trashes Trump and gets to be the first conservative to be allowed on The View in years. Are people not paying attention to the psyop here? Oh, it's amazing. During her heel turn against the GOP, Green has fired multiple shots at House Speaker Mike Johnson, which I am so here for his handling of the government shutdown and failure to devise a plan to prevent subsidies under the Affordable Care Act from expiring, which, once again, I somehow agree with her. If Congress does not renew Affordable Care Act premium tax credits by November 1st, millions of Americans could face steep increases in healthcare costs. She has also teamed up with longtime GOP rebel and Trump nemesis Thomas Massie to try to force the Department of Justice to release all the files on Epstein, the billionaire sex offender who died in federal custody in 2019. Whoa! Whoa! How? Guys, how? How is Marjorie Taylor Greene the sane person right now? I mean, I think it's because she's just trying to protect her ass, right? She knows, she knows the boat is sinking, right? You guys agree with me on that, right? Right? You guys agree with me that she knows that the boat is sinking and she's getting the fuck off, right? I mean, like I said, who else right now is talking about the Epstein files, on the left or the right? How am I here praising Marjorie Taylor Greene rather than, Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or Cory Booker? And I do get that Schumer did push a vote. I recognize real. He pushed a vote. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is spending more time in the fucking batter's box, to use a World Series pun, okay, in the batter's box trying to hit a fucking home run on the Epstein files than Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or Cory Booker or countless others. Nancy fucking Pelosi. Where is Nancy? John Fetterman. Where are all these people at? Nowhere. Yet somehow I am here praising Marjorie Taylor Greene. God damn it. All right, what else we got to go over here today, guys? We got a lot of smaller videos that I wanted to talk about. I know you guys... Here, let's watch something funny. Let's watch something funny. You guys. You're a flat waterer, Bo? If we go that far, Bo, I don't know if I want to be on this earth anymore. Bathtubs are deep water propagandists. Wait, you gotta find a way, Bo. You gotta find a way to tie in the flat water movement with the aliens are in the ocean movement. You gotta find a way to tie those things together. She knows biology is catching up with kinks. Yeah. I keep saying that. Like, I know that, earlier today, we were talking about them moving on the military bases. We've talked about the bunker potentially being built underneath the East Wing. I know that sometimes this stuff sounds like doomer shit. So I think it's really important to say this. I do think that the American judicial system and the framework that the founders of America had put in place to deal with despotism, with dictatorship, with authoritarian governments, though slow, though unwieldy, is currently holding up to what I would call a stress test, right? So, though I don't think that people should be docile, I don't think people should be apathetic, I don't think people should be nihilistic, I do think that you should have a positive opinion about the potential of getting out of this, not unscathed. There's going to be a lot of scars, but there is definitely potential for America to learn some really fucking tough lessons from Trump's administration that could make it stronger in the future. So I don't want people to feel like this is all doomer shit, okay? I don't want you guys to feel like that. Let's see. Okay, here. Let's watch this. You guys know the two kids. I now know that the girl is a kid. It's not the guy's wife or girlfriend. You guys know about the two kids from the Necessary Conversation pod, that they have conversations with their MAGA parents. Like, this is all of us right now, guys. This is all of us. If you guys know who Shane Gillis is, and I know you're going to be like, he's the guy who was canceled for SNL. I like Shane Gillis. I love Shane Gillis. If you know who Shane Gillis is, you should watch some of him roasting his Republican father. And yes, he still loves his father. I know you're like, he still loves him. Yeah, it's his father, dude. Fucking, I can't get behind all the like, you know, just hating your parents and shit like that. Like, people make bad decisions. People have stupid fucking ideas. I'm not saying that that any of that stuff is good, but you know, there's something to be said about people still trying to save their parents from cults. Like, I don't think anybody should be against that. So the Necessary Conversation pod is amazing. You got this the son who's really patient, really intelligent, very well educated on these subjects. Then you have the parents that are completely fucking MAGA. The mom seems like she tries to understand some stuff. The dad is just fucking so far gone. And then the sister is my favorite blue-haired liberal that does not have blue hair, because she is me with the anger and the like, are you effing kidding me? Like, I really like the sister. She's awesome. And I enjoy watching these guys. I like watching their stuff. So this is a good one. This one right here is really, really, really good, because they're talking about Diddy. And I love the way these guys get them stuck in this like fallacy loop, because that was what we all tried at the beginning. I had a podcast I did with Adam Mockler where we talked about how you could potentially talk to your MAGA parents and stuff like that and try to get them to agree with you, right? And this was the Socratic method. The idea was, you know, you use the method that Socrates used that literally got him put on trial and executed, and that is to ask questions about people's beliefs until you get them into a place where you can expose the fallacies. So I really like watching this. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to be like, fuck those people, they're lost, all that stuff, but they're not your parents. I'm not going to hate these guys for attempting to save their parents from the cult.
He did. He got 50 months, time to serve in a federal prison. But, and that 50 months is 4 years and 2 months, which he already served 13 months, which makes his sentence down to 36 months and a $500,000 fine. This is my opinion, okay? I'm trying to get in the screen, the full screen. That was not enough. They forgot to give him a sentence straight to hell for everything that he did to women and men. So that's my
kind of like Donald Trump. Kind of like Donald Trump on Epstein Island.
No, I'm not even equating him with Donald Trump.
And there it is. There it is. There's the fucking cognitive dissonance. They can't, like, you're like, just like Donald Trump. No, not like Donald Trump. Like, you guys always saying he did this shit just like Donald Trump, but it's totally different.
You should. I'm sorry, you have to. I could equate him with Jay-Z, Obama.
So black people.
Black? That's what I'm saying. You can equate. Jay-Z didn't fucking molest anybody. Like, look, I'm not a Jay-Z fan. Look, I'm a Pac fan, okay? I grew up with Tupac. I'm not a Jay-Z fan. It's West Coast for life, okay? West Coast for life, all right? Jay-Z, I'm not a Jay-Z fan, all right? but he didn't fucking traffic anybody that I know of. And Obama definitely did not. How? Why? What is the only connection? The only connection between P. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Obama is they're all black.
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Oh, whoa. Oh, man. I haven't even got past my Diddy.
I'm stunned by this. I literally am stunned by this. I mean, I know you guys are racist, but Jesus Christ.
He said, I know you guys are racist, but Jesus fucking Christ. Holy shit. Holy shit.
You can quit saying that. I'm so sick
You
of
just
that.
proved it.
No,
I
we didn't.
know. I literally was left speechless. Like
That is two people that I do associate him with are those two. Why
You
not?
associate him with these people because they're black.
How about Donald Trump?
What,
Donald
Obama
Trump
wasn't throwing freak-offs.
You two said that.
You
Donald-
said yes. We said because they're black, and you both said yes.
Like, they don't even remember it. Like, how crazy is that? That's so crazy. These people have been brainwashed, man. They've been brainwashed. Let me see.
Donald Trump.
Okay. So this is another one that is the sister. And this is to do with pardoning people.
Trump is pardoning criminals. Are you down for that?
Oh, Joe Biden didn't.
Yeah, other presidents have not.
Joe Biden didn't.
Jesus Christ. Can you just leave other presidents?
Yeah. And that's the cope, is immediately when a person... So it's a lot like saying this. Like, it's like saying, well, this person that you like murdered somebody. And then having that person go, well, yeah, John Wayne Gacy murdered people too. Like, whataboutism is not acceptable. Like, there are times, if you're in a debate where you're saying, if I'm saying to you, Jeffrey Dahmer is a good human being, and you're saying John Wayne Gacy is a good human being, and that's debate. And I say, well, John Wayne Gacy, killed all these people. And you say, Jeffrey Dahmer did too. Like, yeah. If we're debating that one or the other is good, right? 100%. But if you're just going to use whataboutism to never come in contact with the truth, never actually have to honestly approach an argument, it's not a valid defense, and it just shows how weak your argument is.
Out of it for once and answer the question.
Well, it's the same thing.
Are you okay with Donald Trump pardoning criminals?
These two people, yes.
I like the way our country's going.
These
I like
two
what
people, yes, I'm okay.
I like what Donald Trump is doing.
Then you are part of it. You're complicit because you know he's doing it and you don't give a so just say it. Say you don't give a He can pardon child molestation. He can pardon this guy, fraudulent, like, you don't give a shit. Just say that.
You're not putting words in our mouth.
You're putting words in your own mouth.
You're not putting words in our mouth.
No, she's not. You are literally saying it right now. You don't care that he pardoned this guy who helps facilitate payment for child predators.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did. I don't even need to know who they're talking about to know who they're talking about. They're talking about the Binance founder, and the Binance guy was literally sent emails from his own company saying we shouldn't be allowing these people to do this. These countries are known to have these affiliations with these human traffickers, and we're allowing this to happen. And he said, I don't care. Yeah, it actually was proven in a court of law that he indeed knew and did not care.
He never was convicted for that. He was convicted for the money laundering.
That's why he was sentenced to 4 months in.
This is like saying, so her argument is like saying Jimmy Hoffa wasn't convicted for murdering people, selling drugs, doing other. He was convicted of tax evasion. It's like yes, he was convicted of tax evasion because that's the thing that they can most likely prove with the highest level of certainty that he would go to jail, right? And even then, that's bullshit. Right? And that just shows that all of those people have some type of connection that keeps them from having to deal with the things that they've actually done. Once again, not good.
Prison. Convicted. Donald Trump is pardoned.
So anyways, she's my favorite. She is my favorite. What do you guys got parents like that? Anybody got parents like that? Was it Capone? Okay, sorry, Capone. Al Capone. Did Hoffa ever get... I thought, was Whitey Bulger... Didn't Whitey Bulger testify against Hoffa? Am I wrong? Oh, Jimmy Hoffa disappeared, right? Never mind. You're right, Capone. Okay. That's right. I got that wrong. Thank you. Anybody? Yeah, your mom? My father-in-law's pretty bad. My dad, pretty bad. Your mother, Siren? Yep. So, I know that some of you guys are going to be like, fuck those people. But as a person that has those people in my family, as much as you want to be that person, you do have to recognize that it's very hard for people right now that are in these types of relationships. And just being a human being and attempting to hope that there's just something that you can do to bring back this person that you love, that you appreciate. Like I said, the Shane Gillis thing is actually hilarious because he makes fun of his dad. Like he mocks his dad. Like, one of the clips is him calling Trump a pussy, And it's like, I think everybody is trying to do their best right now to save their loved ones from, what's going to potentially happen when Donald Trump dies. And whether or not, I 100% believe that Donald Trump is a existential threat to this country or an intrinsic threat to this country. I still hope that those people succeed in helping get their parents back from this shit. It's sad to watch. It's so sad. Your mom was like that before she passed, Mitchell? That's too bad. I'll show you one more. We got one more parent thing, but it's not those guys. I thought this one was really funny. I got this one. This is actually a little bit different. This is more towards the area of having your parents still alive, okay? And them being Trump's supporters, specifically dads. Because there's this weird... Look, I don't want to be the guy that sits up here and says, men are just dumber than women. But I think since Trump took office or ran for office, I think that we've been proving it. I think that men have not been doing themselves any favor, specifically white men, have not been doing themselves any favors when it comes to Donald Trump. We've just been proving over and over again, old white men should no longer be in charge of this country. And this guy, his name is, or the person who shared this, I don't actually know who is this. Okay. Formerly Fat Steven is the person who made this video. And it is, my dad is a simp for Donald Trump. So I want you guys to watch this, and we'll talk about it a little bit.
But I watch how my dad looks and talks about Donald Trump and realize he never loved me. My dad has never talked about me once in such high regard. I don't know how Trump turned all of our dads into simps. Just little pay pigs. He might die.
Dude, pay pigs is the best fucking possible term that you could use. Like, he's got a stranglehold on their bank accounts. And they have to ask the man whether or not they can spend the money. He called him a pay pig. It's such a weird world to live in right now where this is how we have to think about our parents. What is this? Can we stop it? Can we fix it? Is there a solution?
Donate to him. He'd probably send him $25. He gave me $5 when I graduated high school. I'm trying to do everything I can to afford to not have to put him in a home.
Dude, that's literally what I've been saying forever. Is that like there are grandparents out there right now trying to make the decision of whether or not to put a $20 bill in a birthday card to send to their grandchildren. They're saying to themselves like, well, we don't have any money because, you know, the government shut down and all my benefits ain't coming in. And, you know, but Donald Trump just sent me a message saying he's trying to get into heaven and he needs a few more dollars from me. So I got to well, do I give the $20 to my grandkid or do I send it to Donald Trump? Well, you know what? I better send it to Donald Trump. You know why? Because Donald Trump is going to make sure that my grandkid has a good life. Because if these liberals get a hold of the country, they're just going to destroy it. And then my grandkid ain't going to have a good life. Like, that's where they're at.
Graduated high school, even graduated college. Graduated college, he gave me $20. I should have run for president. He probably would have given me at least 25. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I watch how my dad looks and talks about Donald Trump and realize he never loved me.
Yeah, that's crazy. How crazy is that? Like, what is this? What are boomers doing? You know what I just saw you guys the other day? I saw that they said Generation X is going to be the first generation that's going to need to subsist off of UBI, and that's not a good thing. Okay, that's a bad thing because there's no UBI, there's no framework for it currently being looked at. I mean, there is some states are giving it a shot, but we're not in a good place. And you think about it, all these people are boomers. Boomers are the luckiest fucking people that have ever lived. They grew up during a time where they could purchase homes. They grew up during a time where the government subsidized housing and like literally gave people fucking loans that they could afford. They grew up during a time where a progressive president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, taxed the rich. Even Eisenhower, who was a Republican, continued Roosevelt's policies on taxing the rich and straight up told rich people, like, really sorry, I know you guys voted for me, but at the end of the day, this shit works. Like, boomers had so much going on for them from this time, and instead of looking at that time and being like, yo, we had pensions, dog. No one has pensions now. Instead of saying, like, we actually got to benefit from Social Security, and Social Security's still here for us right now, and it won't be for people in the future. They're going to get 30% less than what they did if they ever get to retire, because the retirement age is going to be like 72 by that time. Instead of taking that, conservative boomers are like, let's just throw it all away. You literally, if you're a conservative boomer, you know that you benefited from the most progressive presidents of our time. The New Deal is the most progressive legislation that has existed in this country ever. And you benefited from that shit. And you're just like, I'm going to vote for Trump so that way we can just burn all this shit down before we go. I'm Generation X. It's going to fucking suck. What is UBI, Tammy? UBI is Universal Basic Income. So the idea of Universal Basic Income is, it actually comes from Andrew Yang. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have shit on Andrew Yang, and I'm going to say I am very disappointed in all of you, just so you guys know. Andrew Yang does say and do some stupid shit sometimes, but the idea of UBI didn't come from Andrew Yang, but he was a huge supporter of UBI, I think 5 years ago or maybe 8 years ago. And he was talking about, he actually gave $1,000 a month to people out of his own pocketbook. Just so you guys know, if you guys don't know this about Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang, I can't remember how many people it was. Was it 100 people? He gave $1,000 a month to for like a year to see whether or not they would quit their job, whether or not they would take reduced hours, whether or not they become fat and lazy and just live off of it, all of those things, right? And I think Denver also did a UBI. I want to say South Africa has done UBI. And the idea is that automation is going to take so many jobs. Like, it's already taking truckers' jobs. It's already taking taxi drivers' jobs. It's going to take up so many of those jobs that if we don't give money to people to keep them afloat, to keep them housed, to keep them fed, to keep them within electricity and such, to have heat and air conditioning and stuff, that it's going to become such a huge burden on society. All the people that are like poor and dying and out of work and committing crime and stuff like that, that it would make more sense to have a welfare state and give them universal basic income to substitute for the money that they lost due to AI, right? And even guys like fucking Sam Altman and Peter Thiel and all these guys, they're actually for UBI, just so you guys know. Like, you call a spade, right? Call balls and strikes. All of them are for UBI. So, like, if you don't have UBI, shit's going to fall apart. And it's going to get bad. And people are going to commit crimes. And people will eventually, revolt against the government. So, I mean, it's just the only way that really it can go. Like, AI is going to take a lot of people's jobs. Just so you guys know, I've seen recently an increase in marketing people applying at my job, because I was just talking to one of them in an interview, and she was saying it's no longer SEO, which is search engine optimization. Now it's generative engine optimization. And so it sounds like a lot of people in marketing are now losing their jobs to AI. So it is happening. Truck drivers are losing their jobs. Taxi drivers are losing their jobs. Marketing engineers are losing their jobs. People are losing their jobs at UBI, and this is going to get a whole lot worse really fast in the next couple of years. Somebody has to do something about it. I used to drink 40s with Yang at the tennis course every weekend. Bo. Now that would be amazing. That's the goal of technology, to make our lives easier, and the only way to do that is UBI, giving everyone the ability to meet basic needs. Exactly, Silent. Exactly what Silent just said. What up, Manny? Yeah, you got a Halloween party, Manny? Very nice. What'd you dress up as, Manny? I was going to wear my crown, but I was afraid I'd get beat up by my blue-haired liberal friends. I thought for sure I was going to, like, if I wore my crown with all this no king shit going on, I was like, I'm going to have to, like, scream out. I'm like, I'm with you! I'm with you! Don't murder me! I'm no kings, I hear you, but I'm a king for Halloween. I'm the angry ginger king of the north, okay? The only king. The one king. The true king. Luck Dragon says, I think we should give socialism a shot. Why not? We're rich. If you own $1 billion, give it up and do it again. You guys saw what Billie Eilish did, right? You guys saw what Billie Eilish recently did? Gave up, what, 25% of her total fortune? We need more people like Billie Eilish. Socialism is an integral part of our government already. Anybody that doesn't realize that is a fucking moron. And anybody, like those parents that we were just listening to, I heard one of them, my wife sent me a video of them saying, we have to get rid of democracy. Well, why do we have to get rid of democracy? Because it's communism. And it's like, it's so hard for people to recognize. And I don't know that this is as big of a problem on the left as it is on the right, but on the right, there's an incredibly hard, they have an incredibly hard time realizing that America is not a democracy. America is a democracy that also has elements of socialism, that also has elements of the Republic. It has constitutionalism, federalism. Like there's, it's democracy at its core, but it is not a pure democracy or direct democracy because not everybody uses their right to vote. I mean, it really is like, I know I harp on this a lot, but it really is constitutionally founded, and the way the government goes about the idea of what it's supposed to accomplish is very much based in what Aristotle wanted people to do. And Aristotle is fucking based. He knew that if you want to have a society and if you wanted to be wealthy, then you needed to have a welfare state. So that way the people beneath you didn't revolt against you. And he also knew that if you wanted to have a constitution that allowed for everybody to vote, then you would need an educational system, and you would need habituation, and you'd need people in government that were good people that wanted the best for humanity, not just for themselves. And for the most part, the American government was set up in a way that could accomplish the majority of those things. But we don't want to. I mean, not we. I mean, the billionaires. The techno-oligarchs see their chance at oligarchy, see their chance at authoritarianism, and they recognize that they're going to die in the next 10, 20 years, and they want to use all of their resources and wealth before they go. They want to fucking shoot people to Mars. They want to put AI chips in your brain. Not for you, for them. It's the same reason you can draw parallels between what Trump is doing and what techno-oligarchs want to do. They want to build statues to themselves. They want to build ballrooms with their names on it. They want to do everything they possibly can in the next 3 to 4 decades to establish their legitimacy on this earth. They want a legacy. And, it's really up to people. It's up to the citizens of America to say, I don't fucking think so. Fuck your couch, J.D. Vance. What's happening to you? All right. Do you have any idea how long it changed me to change every single so you I didn't get blocked? I have the patience of a saint. Good job, Tia. Good job. Oh, I'm sure you're forgetting quite a few people. All right. So let's see. Well, speaking of, let's talk about like how much this is like in your face. Let's talk about the fact that Trump at no point now is disguising anything that he's doing. The corruption is right in your face. The quid pro quo is right in front of your face. The crypto scams right in front of your face. There's nothing about this administration that is being hidden. That there's nothing about it that's subtle. Everything that they are doing right now is in your face, and they're doing it for a reason. Because who was it the other day? James Comer. James Comer said, somebody said, you're okay with Trump taking a $400 million plane. You're okay with spending $1 billion to retrofit it. You're okay with the crypto scams, with the Melania coin, with the Trump coin. You go, why are you okay with that? But you spent years investigating the Biden crime family. And he said, well, they're upfront about it. That was his answer. His answer as to why it's okay that Donald Trump is doing corruption. He's selling meme coins. He's taking planes, doing backdoor deals, like all these things. Why are you okay with it? He said, because he's upfront with it. And that's the scam. And we just saw it on we just saw it on Halloween. KKK Carolyn Leave said it out loud. Yeah, she says that shit out loud. She doesn't care. None of them care. In fact, they've figured out the formula. They've figured out that as long as they just say it right to your fucking face, Americans will just shrug their shoulders and go, well, at least they're saying it to it. That's how abusive this relationship has become. The relationship between Americans and their government has become so abusive that they can just say this shit right to your face, and you're like, yeah, he beats me, but at least he doesn't try to hide who he is. So this is from the Midas Touch. They shared this. This is Mar-a-Lago on Halloween doing the Great Gatsby party, guys. The Great Gatsby party.
Are you?
They're not only not trying to hide it, they're taunting people with it. They're trolling people with it. They're reveling in it. If you don't think that this administration doesn't look at something like the Great Gatsby and go, dude, could we do that? You're insane. Donald Trump and the people that surround him are a bunch of people that have all the access, all the resources, all the wealth, all the connection, all the status that they could possibly hope to have in America. And the last thing that they want to do is die feeling like they didn't build enough statues for themselves. They don't want to die thinking that people won't talk about them for decades or centuries. These people who have accomplished pretty much nothing of any real worth think they believe that they should be held in the same esteem as people like Washington or Julius Caesar or Alexander the Great. Alexander the Gay. They think that when this is all said and done, that there should be an Arc de Trump, that there should be a Trump ballroom. And that's not just Trump. It's Peter Thiel, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. All of these people want to have Gatsby parties. And they don't want to just have to have them in back rooms where you can't see them. They want to have them right in front of your face because it makes them feel powerful to show the populace how fucking good they have it while they know the populace has it so bad. They get off on it. They like it, and they're not going to stop doing it until we make a change in our society and how we allow these things. Like, that is so crazy to watch. Let's see, what else did we have today? DSM-7 will refer to it as King Narcissism. Alexander the Gay at the gates. Sometimes I Freudian slip, okay? Alexander was definitely gay. Fucking everybody during those times. You know, a little excerpt. Where are we at? Just so everybody knows I know what I'm talking about. Okay? Alexander the Great. All right? I read my books. I got a lot of books. Okay? When he fought the Companions, I believe they're called, outside of, was it Athens? I don't think it was Athens. It might have been Athens. The what was it? Something Companions. But they were all gay couples, and they fought to the death. He said they were the greatest fighting force that he had ever fought, because in fighting them, they never gave up. They would die to the man because of their relationship with their significant other, that they would not allow them to fall and them not continue to fight. So that was really cool. Really cool. So he was probably pretty gay. He really liked that stuff. All right. Sparta. Outside of Sparta, is that where it was? Okay. Outside of Sparta. Thank you. Appreciate that. Merwin Jet said, breaking news, Trump just banned shredded cheese because he said his time to make America great again. Jet. Jet's cool. Like Jet. How many... Hold on. Who said it? Freaky Elon has compared the fine angry Ginger. How many children and baby mamas do you have, Ginger? I have one baby mama and I have 2 children. Thank you. I have one baby mama. I have 2 children that I know of. That I know of. All right. That's that I know of. Speaking of, let's talk about this. Speaking of Gatsby parties. Speaking of Donald Trump. Speaking of connections and status and wealth and how the wealthy can get away with things that all of us can't get away with, and how they're openly flaunting that they can do exactly that. Donald Trump just recently had ICE scramble to return longtime Trump golf employee mistakenly deported to Mexico. That's where we're at, guys. Do you guys remember just recently that Trump came out and said shit that just like completely triggered MAGA into a complete meltdown? Trump came out and said recently, like, I don't know, like 6 months ago, 4 months ago, he said, you know, my Secretary of Agriculture, she said to me, she said, we can't deport all of these workers. There's good workers. The farmers are saying they're good people. They've been here. They haven't committed any crimes. They need to work here. And, you know, there's a lot of immigrants. They work in the leisure industry. Guess who owns hotels and motels? Donald Trump, right? Those people are good people. They haven't committed any crimes. Maybe we'll give them amnesty. And then, like, 2 days later, after MAGA just absolutely melted down and people were like, no, we don't give a shit, they're brown, get them out of our country, the Secretary of Agriculture came out and was like, oh, never mind. Like, we never said that we're going to give anybody amnesty. That's crazy talk. In fact, Trump, during that speech, said, we should not punish immigrants for being here illegally. We should instead let them stay, and we should punish the farmers that are employing those immigrants. Which, of course, he's doing that now. So he's definitely punishing the farmers right now. So maybe that's all part of the master plan. But she came out and she said, no, there won't be any amnesty. We're not going to do amnesty for these people. We're not going to, do all these things. Don't worry, MAGA. Please don't freak the fuck out. The brown people got to go. And Trump was like, yeah, I never said that. Never said that they get amnesty. Obviously, you guys didn't hear what you thought you heard. And it turns out, Trump, okay? Turns out Trump did give some amnesty to some of these people, the ones that work for him. And that shouldn't surprise anybody. A longtime former employee at one of President Donald Trump's golf clubs was mistakenly deported to Mexico. Mistakenly deported to Mexico. Was Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was he mistakenly deported to Mexico? Actually, the Trump administration did say he was. And then they're like, fuck that, we're not bringing him back. Kilmar Garcia needed every one of us to be on streams, to have news journalists reporting on it. He had politicians going over to CCOT. Like, to get Garcia back to America just to have a fair trial to determine whether or not he's MS-13, which he's not. To do all that, we had to fucking move the moon and the stars Donald Trump's former employee got mistakenly deported. Guys. The New York Times reported sending U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement into a mad scramble to correct the error and bring him home. There was no mad scramble, guys. Yeah, now they want to send him to Africa. Exactly. Alejandro Juarez stepped off a plane in Texas and stood on a bridge over the Rio Grande, staring at the same border that he had crossed illegally from Mexico 22 years earlier. Let me just say that one more time. He had crossed illegally from Mexico 22 years earlier. Should I say that one more time? Reported Luis Ferrer Sadorni and Ahmed Al-Aziz. As U.S. immigration officials unshackled restraints bound to his arms and legs, Mr. Juarez, 39, in other words, he came when he was 17, pleaded with them. He told them he was never given a chance to contest his deportation in front of an immigration judge after being detained in New York City 5 days before. As it turned out, the Department of Homeland Security had mistakenly put him on a deportation flight instead of sending him to a detention facility in Arizona ahead of his immigration hearing to which he was entitled. Due process does in fact seem to matter. All of a sudden, what do you think the chances are, guys? What do you think the chances are of this guy getting deported? What do you think the chances are of him beating the case? I think they're pretty fucking high, guys. I think they're pretty high. I'm saying 99% sure that this dude right here is going to beat the case. Yet Kilmar Garcia is still being held. He's having to be held so that way they can't deport him to Africa. Their actions probably violated federal immigration laws, which entitle most immigrants facing deportation to a hearing before a judge. A hearing Mr. Juarez never had, said the report. ICE officials raced to decipher his whereabouts, exchanging bewildered emails and contacting detention facilities to pinpoint his location according to internal ICE documents obtained by the New York Times. It is unclear how many other immigrants like Mr. Juarez have been erroneously removed, in part because ICE has not in the past tracked such cases. Juarez had worked for more than a decade at a Trump Organization golf club in New York. He had suddenly found himself expelled from the United States. Similar administrative mistakes have happened on other occasions, most notably with Salvadoran migrant Kilmar Abreu Garcia, who was deported from his family in Maryland to the infamous Seacot mega prison in his home country, despite a court order prohibiting his removal there. After months of denying they had jurisdiction to repatriate him, the Trump administration finally did so, but then immediately hit him with flimsy gang charges and started shopping around for any other country that would accept him, including several in Africa. I don't know, like, how long I can do this. I don't know how many years I have in me of just pointing out the hypocrisy of Trump, the corruption of Trump, the quid pro quo, the gifts, all of those things. But I do hope that it's for something. I do hope that at the end of this, that I can look back on this time and say to myself, we made a difference. Because if we don't, if this type of stupidity becomes every day, just it doesn't matter, left, right, non-political, independent, whatever. If this is where we end up as a country, where people can't look at a case like this and say to themselves, this is pure hypocrisy. This is pure corruption. This is obviously a person that has connections to the most powerful person in the United States of America that is using those connections to get away from something that is currently just or unjust, in my opinion, unjust, by using those connections to find favor and not be deported. If we can't get to that point where we all see that and agree that this is kind of crazy, then I don't know where to go from that. Because when Hunter Biden got pardoned by Joe Biden, there were tons of reporters, tons of influencers that were saying this isn't okay because he's setting a precedent. If you do this, then who knows what presidents could do from this point on. And I myself was like, they're going to do it anyways, so you might as well. I foresaw that Donald Trump was not going to play by any rules. We tried to warn people about it for 6, 8 months, a year. We tried to warn people that this is exactly what would happen. And when people were giving Joe Biden a ton of shit for pardoning Hunter, I said, I'm not going to give him any shit for that because this next administration is going to do so much worse than that. And I was right. What else do we have? This is getting freaking exhausting. I don't know how. I just don't know how. Yeah, exactly. Tia. You can just point out so many things over and over and over again that this administration has done that no administration should do, regardless of Republican or Democrat. Everybody should agree that these are not the types of things that you want to happen. And, the one good thing I will say about this, we were watching that Kyle Kalinske video on Kirk Cameron on Thursday on this space. And, you do see some conservatives obviously saying like, hey, bad idea. This is not what we should be doing. Because if we do it, they're going to do it. And you're going to end up in a place where at one point or another, you're going to have Democrats in power. Whether it's in 2026 when the midterms come and they flip the House and the Senate, or potentially in 2029 after the 2028 election. If there are any elections at all during that time, and that is a question, every one of these conservatives that are making these videos, they are spot on. They know that this is going to become a problem for Republicans in the near future. And I hope it does. I genuinely hope that you get to lay in the bed that you made. I hope that every one of you finds yourself looking back at this time and regretting the decisions that you made, because it's not just bad for Democrats. It's bad for the country. I may not be a huge fan of the American political parties, but what I will say is I do think, though it had far to go, the system in some ways was making progress towards a better system where you had push and pull from parties, where you had the left that would push really hard on social justice, would push really hard on sometimes things that I disagreed with sometimes like inhibiting people's language or, just using, their platforms to potentially, make people feel less capable of talking about certain things. One of my prime examples is the Sam Harris. Is it ethical to eat babies if everybody's starving? Which was literally a quote taken out of context between a conversation between him and Cenk Uygur, which is weird as fuck. I didn't know who Cenk was back then. But he literally said, somebody will take this quote and they will take it out of context and then they will say that I believe this. People got out of control with that. On the right, conservatives push really too hard for billionaire tax cuts. And I'm talking about regular conservatives, not MAGA Republicans. They push really way too hard for deregulation of corporate businesses. And I don't believe that there's a perfect political party. I don't believe in political parties. I believe in policies. I believe in common sense. I believe in doing what's right for all people and attempting to make a place where we can all live together and enjoy each other's company and actually like fucking agree to disagree on topics that aren't absolutely out of control, like racism and homophobia. That's like, there's got to be a line somewhere where we draw where we say we're not going to agree to disagree. That shit's just fucking bad. And what we've instead delved into now is MAGA Republicanism, which pushes all those extremes way far out of the realm of common sense, way far out of the realm of critical thinking and logic. And I do hope that there is a period where MAGA Republicans have to look back at this period and say to themselves, we did kind of fuck up. We shouldn't have done that. I hope so. Thank you for the $9.99. Thank you, Nina. Nina. We are wrecked. I love that. That's a fitting emoji, Nina. That is one fitting emoji right there, my friend. Thank you so much for the $9.99. Let's see. What's happening, Miss Bunny Bell? Thank you for being over there on Twitch. Prostagma. I don't even know what that means. You're going to have to give me a definition of what prostagma means. Okay. Let's see. I guess we should watch this video because that's kind of like what I'm talking about, but I don't know. Do we have enough time? Okay, we probably have just enough. Let's watch this video because we probably have just enough time to watch this video and then watch our funny videos to end the stream. I haven't watched a Dark Brandon video in a really long time. I really like Dark Brandon. What's up, AJ? I really like Dark Brandon's videos, but a lot of times it doesn't get shown to me in the algorithm because you guys know how that goes. So if you don't know who Dark Brandon is, you should definitely go and subscribe to Dark Brandon's channel. I'll make sure to put it in the chat. This video is called Stop Coddling MAGA. Empathy isn't a hall pass for hate. And this kind of, is going to probably disagree with me a bit on what I said about those MAGA parents, right? And that's what I like. I like to see things that disagree with me. I like to see different points of view. I don't think that everything I believe is the gospel. I read a lot of things. I watch a lot of things. I like to see conflicting points of views, even within my own party. I think I've said this before, but and I'll say a name that'll just trigger the shit out of everybody in my chat right now. But one of the first videos I ever watched that kind of made me like, oh, okay, like I could probably talk about politics. I could kind of get into it. Was Matt Dillahunty, who I think is a fucking god. I love Matt Dillahunty. He's a god of debate. He's amazing. Which he probably hate me for saying that because he's an atheist. But him versus Destiny in a debate where I believe Destiny's position on pro-choice versus pro-life is that he believes that a person, once they get personhood, after 26 weeks of gestation, that at that point he's against abortion, where Matt Dillahunty's point of view was my body, my choice. Therefore, there is no argument when it comes to pro-life versus pro-choice. The only argument is that it's a woman's body and she has every right to do with it whatever she wants. And I just thought it was so novel to see some people, and you guys are going to be like, he's not on the left. I do believe that Destiny is a left-leaning centrist or a establishment Democrat, so I do believe he's on the left, even if you guys hate me for that. But I thought that it was great to see two people that lean left arguing over something that they agree should be a legit right as a human being to have, agency over your own body, but to have two different points of views. This is also like 3 years ago, something like that. I saw this debate. And as much as I agreed with Matt Dillahunty's point of view, because I do believe that I don't have any right really to tell a woman what to do with her body. I can't put myself in the place of a person making a decision of that magnitude. I can understand the other side of that argument when it comes to 26 weeks of gestation or further. And I just like to see information that conflicts with each other. And that made me want to do these videos. So this is a video that talks about something that I probably agree with, but I think I might disagree with a little bit, and that is the coddling of MAGA. Whether or not they deserve any empathy at all, and where to draw that line.
Well, today, it's me, Frank, guardian angel from the temp agency, and yeah, so weekend, I'm hungover.
It's been a kind of screwy day, and it's nice to listen to your ideas of normalcy. Glad to have you here, AJ. Glad to hear you. Dude, I know how you feel. Believe me. I know exactly how you feel.
Call me in, of course. Boy, do we got a doozy for you. The title of the video we're looking at today is Empathy is Massively Underrated. The thing is the guy is making the case to have empathy for what usually would be seen as oppressors, MAGA, men, and Russians in the context of the Russia-Ukraine war. But let's see where he begins. He does a good job of kind of rebranding empathy, talking about...
Yeah, so see, this is probably a left-wing person speaking about empathy, and you have a left-wing content creator criticizing what they believe. And this is good as long as it's done in a way that is positive and actually has some idea of resolution.
It being counterculture, which it pretty much is today. Let's begin.
Hello there. Thank you for coming to my video. On this dark evening, I just wanted to talk about something that is really important to me, and that's empathy. And I specifically wanted to talk about how rare it is and how important it is, how it's intelligent, it's attractive in a person, it takes strength to practice, and it's actually kind of countercultural. It's cool. And I think you see it the most often in politics, and politics drives me nuts for this. You know, I think empathy is a sign of intelligence, at least emotional intelligence. And it's so rare, and I think people are making themselves more unhappy and making the world a worse place at the same time by engaging.
Yeah, see, I'm going to call him out already. Because when he says you're making yourself less happy, right? By not having empathy for people that are potentially doing things that are harmful for others. The way that you look at something like that, and the way that you have to make this, decision on what is better, what is better for, as Aristotle put it, what leads to the most happiness amongst civilization? And that answer is to not allow for certain evil things to be acceptable. So though empathy is a great driver of happiness, specifically a very selfish sort of happiness, which is one where you feel really good, that you're a little bit better than other people because you can feel this thing. If you're taking it to a level where you're like, I'm the most empathetic person, I can feel empathy for Hitler. Like, you're like, okay, well, you might be going too far, because if that empathy leads to that person's having more access to causing harm amongst the populace, a la something like Donald Trump being emboldened by your empathy, then you actually lead to greater harm for civilization than you do lead to progressive or productiveness for civilization. So greater happiness. You have to draw lines. Everything in life is balance. You cannot say to yourself that I am just going to embrace empathy at all points and never, ever do anything else, because that's a losing proposition. There are places and times where it's appropriate to shame. There are places and times where it is appropriate to judge. There are places and times where it's appropriate to hold people accountable for things that make society worse. And you can say that you still have empathy while you're doing that, but you must draw a line that says my empathy will not extend to saying that those people are blameless or do not deserve any repercussion for their actions. So I'm going to let these guys go further, but that's where I can already see it going that way.
In this constant online battleground where a lot of things are taken into account, but not empathy. And people honestly are showing like a lack of insight and I would say intelligence to a degree when they engage in these things. It doesn't mean I don't think they're capable of intelligence. I'm saying they're behaving unintelligently. It's a different thing.
Okay, and so this is a problem I have where he doesn't really define empathy in the beginning of the video and not until very later in the video, and instead he just here associates it with either intelligence or people who don't have it with a lack of intelligence. So just the general idea of empathy is this idea that you have the ability to perceive another person's perspective, to understand, to feel, possibly share and respond to their experience. And usually this is why empathy and compassion is going to be reserved for people like victims or people who are oppressed. And I'd also even push back on this idea that those who are fighting to show empathy and compassion to the oppressed are unhappy. No, by doing that, by standing up for the oppressed, by standing up to bullies, you feel better about yourself and other people will want to rally around you. That's what we saw in World War II when the Allies all rallied around each other and fought against the Nazis.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point because empathy is not just one-sided. I'm trying to see if this has... I don't see who this creator is, Bish. Sorry. The video is called Stop Coddling MAGA. Empathy Isn't a Hall Pass for Hate, and it's from Dark Brandon. Maybe you can do some reverse engineering there on the video. I think you can put in like Meta MW or something like that to try and find out, but I'm not sure who this gentleman is, the young dude in the video. But yeah, I try to say this to people all the time. I'm like, empathy is both your greatest strength and also your greatest weakness, right? And it's all about how you're using it. So it's like I've said before, like there's a lot about like LGBT communities that like I don't understand, right? Because I'm not gay, I'm not trans, I'm not bisexual, I'm none of the above. I'm a heterosexual cis white male, right? I'm about as far from being able to walk in those people's shoes as is possible, right? But when I stop and I think to myself about some of the things that these people have to deal with, some of these things that I've seen or some of these things that I've heard, it makes me feel as though, you know, it's my job coming from a better place, coming from a position where I can take some type of advantage of the privileges I have, that even though I don't completely understand the things that they're going through or why they believe the things that they believe, that I should stand up for those people, right? And that's because there's inherent trauma, there's inherent disruptiveness in their lives that I can empathize with because I come from a very poor background. And it's one thing to say, like, oh, okay, I don't understand furries, right? Like, I don't get it. I don't, well, I'm not interested in that. That's not my fetish. But I also see that it's like harmless. And as long as like, they're not, you know, pushing themselves on people that don't want stuff to do with that, like stuff like that, then I can empathize with a person, you know, having, different kinks or preferences, right? Like, it's not me, and I don't have to be with it. I don't have to even like it to still have empathy for that person, that they should be able to live their own life. But on the other hand of that, the other side of that is to say, okay, well, if you have a person that's like obscenely racist, I'm not talking about a person that makes edgy jokes. I'm not talking about a person that's, you know, once a long time ago said the N-word in a tweet and, you know, got drug up 20 years later because they thought they were edgy when they were 19, right? I'm talking about somebody that is legit racist. Like one of the people I grew up that had like a swastika on their chest. Like, I'm not going to find empathy for that person that discounts the bad things that they do. So I might be able to say I find empathy for the fact that they grew up poor, that they grew up ignorant, that they grew up racist, because I grew up around those people and I know what that's like. But that doesn't in any way discount the actions that they continue to perform, specifically after they've been educated to the subject. As I've said many times before, there's a big difference between being ignorant and being willfully ignorant. I can have empathy for a person that is ignorant, a person that is uneducated, a person that doesn't know that what they think is wrong or that they've expressed those beliefs even. But what I can't have empathy for is a person that is willfully ignorant, a person that now knows after being shown, told, or educated to the fact that the things that they believe are wrong for society, not beneficial. If that's where things end up, I might still have some form of empathy for like how they came up and stuff like that, but I do not have empathy for them as a person, and they do not deserve it.
You know, to put it into so many words and to kind of reduce it down and simmer it down to kind of like the base statements people make and make a general archetype of it, it'd be like MAGA or Republicans are all knuckle-dragging, white trash, cult followers, racist, sexist, whatever. That would be like the broad statements, the broad, harsh statements that a lot of people make about Republican voters. And then from Republican voters about Democrats, it can be all manner of things, but like they're groomers, they're stupid, they're sheep, they're things like that. To be honest, the reason
I like that he intentionally stays away from saying the worst thing MAGA Republicans say about Democrats, but does indeed make the most insulting terms that Democrats use against MAGA Republicans a part of his argument. That's like, you can see that like there's a cognitive dissonance there where he wants to say the more harsher terms but chooses not to. Like, this is when a person's trying to appeal like as a centrist to somebody. And I don't really have a ton of problems with certain centrisms. I mostly have problems with people that attempt to do the both sides are bad, or all politicians are corrupt, or my vote doesn't matter. Those kind of centrists just drive me fucking nuts. But I don't mind hearing people talk about moderate measures. Like, that's not bad for me, but what he's doing right there is pretty easy to call out.
The reason I had more to say about the Republicans, more words, is because the internet and a lot of social media is like,
DJ, you got your laptop fixed. No, I'm not. I'm not currently watching the World Series because you guys are making me stream.
really overwhelmingly anti-Republican, at least like the ones I'm presented with.
What is this internet he's talking about that's overwhelmingly anti-Republican? That's the internet I want. I mean, has this guy ever logged on to Twitter?
Nah, like, dude, Twitter, even Facebook has gotten really bad. Twitter, YouTube, obviously Rumble is Rumble. It's super conservative. I personally see way more right-wing content when on something like Twitter or YouTube, right? And the reason that I would say that's true, and this is even giving props to the right wing, is that the left has actually done such a shit job of connecting with young people and also taking advantage of social media platforms, as well as taking advantage of like content creation and alternative media and stuff like that. This isn't even like saying that I think that those platforms legit just push right-wing content. I think that the left has done such a piss poor job of getting that content out there, supporting YouTube creators and stuff like that, that's why it is what it is. But definitely the fucking right definitely dominates alternative media.
It's like a Nazi circle jerk on there. So it's also worth noting that this guy's not American. He can't vote, and this is all perspective from the outside. But these ideas, the ideas that lead you to conclusions should be universal. Let's take a MAGA who voted for Donald Trump. Sure, that's their decision. They did that. But when Donald Trump shows this pattern of behavior, and those people continue to support that pattern of behavior, and that behavior includes things like xenophobia, misogyny, sexism, racism, those people supporting him are co-signing him. To use your own ideas, that is when we should be using empathy to those people who are receiving that behavior, like the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, who were falsely accused of eating cats and dogs. But let's see where he goes next.
And so it's not a function.
Yeah, and that's actually a solid point, because I talk about paths to redemption. And like I've even used specific examples of, like, say, that farmer that said that he was going to lose his farm. He had $80,000 worth of irrigation that was put in, that was subsidized by the government because of green environment protectionism. And then Donald Trump, of course, rolled back all that stuff as soon as he got in office. And then he had already spent the money to buy the irrigation equipment. He then had to pay for all that out of his own pocket. And he was like, I'm going to lose my farm. And when people kind of dunked on him and were like, that's what you get for voting for Trump, you're a moron, he was like, well, like, I work 17 hours a day. I guess I never really looked into everything that Trump was going to do or how he was going to do it. I guess I should have, but I don't really have that time. There's a specific point there where I do feel empathy. Like the political, the way our political system is set up is incredibly complicated. Like, to know anything about any one thing in our government policy-wise, you have to understand mechanisms. You have to understand how connections and status influence things, a bunch of like privatized companies, how they affect it and how their voice affects it. Like, there's a lot that can't be underestimated as to how hard and how complicated our government is. So there's empathy there. But once again, when I say that I talk about path to redemption, what I would say is, okay, so now you voted, you say you didn't have time, but you recognize now that Donald Trump is not good for farmers. Will you, in the future, do more research when it comes to your candidate and not vote just strictly Republican based off of your preconceived notions of who those types of people are? And if that person goes on to, continue to do the shit that they did before, then they don't deserve your empathy. They don't deserve sympathy. They don't deserve a path to redemption, because a path to redemption is dependent on what you do once you have made a mistake. If you prove over time that it was not indeed a mistake, but something that you are, going to do over and over again, then nobody owes you any path to redemption. They don't owe you any empathy. You only deserve that if you can show, once again, that you are no longer ignorant, that you are no longer willing to be willfully ignorant.
Of my biases, that I had more words that were mean about them. It's literally just, I constantly see things stated like that. And both sides, I have to wonder if they've ever dealt with diversity of thought in their day-to-day life. Or like, do they know anyone who disagrees with them in real life? And if so, do all those people fit their stereotype of the opposite side? Because if so, they live in a loony bin. Because I doubt it. The people stereotyping Republicans miss the business owners, the small town, rural people, the whatever, who are voting for a multitude of reasons that don't have anything to do with the worst thoughts that these people have about why those people might be voting for who they're voting for. And the same goes for in reverse.
So he's trying to make an argument. And, in some ways I do agree that you want to approach people with an open mind, give them a chance. You want your ideas to be challenged to see if they stand up to scrutiny. But again, it's very easy to associate someone who's supporting a pattern of behavior that not only demonstrates them to be morally corrupt, but also supporting oppressors that want to oppress other people, deserving of empathy. And instead of his argument ending with an explanation like that, pivots to personal attacks, talking about how those people who believe this should live in a loony bin. He also goes on to talk about, the multitude of reasons why people would vote. Sure, they could vote for any of those reasons. But again, once you see this pattern of behavior and you support it, you are now aligning with those ideas and beliefs, mostly around oppressing different groups.
When the Russian invasion of the Ukraine.
Yeah, and this is something that, and it's difficult because language is awkward and clunky, and it sucks to have to repeat things over and over again. But conservatism should not be confused with MAGA Republicans, right? MAGA Republicans, the amount of things that these people tend to have in common with each other is pretty insane. It's why I actually believe that it is a cult, is because oftentimes when having conversations, as I do have conversations with people that are Trump Republicans and with people that are conservatives or libertarians, I do have friends and family that have differing points of views. In those conversations, almost every MAGA Republican that I will talk to will say, we're not all the same, but then proceed to defend every single topic that a MAGA Republican will defend. There's not very little difference. But like I said, it's kind of redundant to say, but the Republican Party is not just MAGA Republicans. There are conservatives that are traditional conservatives, and if you're a true traditional conservative, then you disagree with what Donald Trump is doing because you disagree with authoritarian dictatorship. You believe in smaller government. If you agree with what Donald Trump does right now, as far as all the unilateral executive authoritarianism that is going on right now, if you agree with those things, then you're not a conservative. You're a MAGA Republican, and you're masquerading as being a conservative because you don't want to feel like you're being lumped in with the group, because then you know that we can say as a whole you're a cult. But you're in a cult. You're just trying to mask the fact that you are.
Occurred
Oh, I saw somebody. Hold on. Somebody gave $5. $5. Thank you, Fanter Death. All social media has straight up Nazis on it, except for Blue Sky, because that was created specifically as a safe space for left-wing society. Yeah, I mean, everything I see nowadays, whether it's Musk or Zuckerberg, like, it seems really right-leaning. Thank you for the $5. Thank you for the $5.
A while.
Oh, you got some PragerU ads? Oh, hell yeah, brother.
And it still is, I guess. A safe release valve for anger are Russian people. So I separate very much, people's opposition to any government or military action from people's opposition and dislike of like the people themselves. And you see it all the time. I mean, stereotypes of Russians being stupid, Russians being inept, Russians being ignorant. I'm going to have a bunch of synonyms for basically Russians being stupid.
Wait, what is he basing this off of? I know a Russian. I know a guy who literally grew up in Siberia. What is he basing this off of? I don't think anybody is saying Russians are stupid. I think what they're saying is that the Russian government is currently invading a sovereign country, and that is wrong. Like, once again, I guess I'm speaking from my point of view here, but I don't hate Russian people for what Vladimir Putin is doing. Just like I've tried to say over and over again to people on the left, you shouldn't hate people in Israel for what Netanyahu is choosing to do. Are there people in Israel that agree with Netanyahu that you should dislike? Of course. But that doesn't mean everybody there is. In fact, there's a bunch of people in Israel that are anti-fucking war in Gaza. That's like this idea that people should have empathy that he's trying to express here is just kind of ridiculous. It's like you're trying to paint with such an incredibly broad brush people that you are saying paint with an incredibly broad brush. Like, empathy, just like anything, is based off nuance and context. Individual situations deserve the proper amount of attention to determine whether or not something is deserving of empathy. I don't know this internet that he's looking at where everybody just says all Russians are bad. Like, even with what's going on in Ukraine now, I have not encountered that, and I am fucking on the left constantly.
Because this stereotype, which goes back a long way in Western propaganda and thought,
nice, Bo.
Is a
I don't think you're dumb, Bo.
safe way
I don't think you're
to
dumb.
Have an opportunity to hate a group of people or like rag on a group of people, whereas normally any kind of biases or like ragging on a group of people just on the basis of the circumstances of their birth is considered quite unfashionable.
His arguments are very strange, right? I wonder what country he's in where, all of the internet is pushing ideas of the left and not the right. And here, this example where people are calling Russians stupid, like, we've never called Russians stupid on this channel. And we also agree that people within a country should not be associated with the leader's decision, be it Hamas in Palestine, Netanyahu in Israel, or Putin and the Russians.
Or Trump in America.
Also the way he ends it, where he's talking about judging people on the place of their birth is unfetched. It's called racism, dude. Like, the way he's dancing around, it's so weird. This is how you have to bottle and sell empathy to those on the right.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's an attempt to sell the empathy to the people on the right. And this is something we've seen with tons of content creators like Jank. When they try to do this, it just always comes off as unauthentic. It always comes off as pandering. And to be honest, I feel bad for this dude. I have empathy for this dude, but you come off as a pussy. I'm sorry, but that's really what it does. It makes you seem like you're pandering to a bunch of people that want absolutely zero to do with you, that would absolutely mock and shame you into fucking oblivion for even feeling empathy for them. Sorry, bud. Like, he's probably a good human being, and like, I could probably have conversations with this guy. I would probably even get along with this guy, but we would hard disagree on this topic.
This illusion of what the other side believes and why they do what they do. And that creates a acceptable punching bag, because if the other side is full of groomers, full of idiots, full of, I just don't want to, anyway, full of the worst kinds of people to you, then of course you feel justified in venting all of your rage and frustration, being exclusionary, and just being like small-minded, because it's like it's a chance to do that. Humans are tribalistic in our history, and we love having in-groups and out-groups. And so empathy is a lot harder than just letting it out, being angry. But I think empathy is genuinely, to me, and I think it just is, it's a sign of a developed and intelligent and well...
Cleft chins give authority to push dumb opinions on others historically. Bo. Russian people are dealing with an impossible situation, a government that is telling them something that is insane, and they are told that they have to believe it. Thank you, AJ. Exactly. He is fishing for an audience. Yep. I agree with that, Etch. It's just like the same feeling you get from Jank.
Rounded person.
And so here again, we see him just...
He said beg. He's a Canadian. Later, Jeannie. Appreciate you, Jeannie.
Associating empathy with intelligence, not actually defining it, and saying it's not just letting it all out. Again, what an interesting spoonful of sugar to get people on the right to eat this spoonful of empathy.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, algorithms don't push empathy, they push hate. So his video isn't 100%. Getting too many views.
And I don't think having gone through certain things are any excuse. Like, I would never really get into it because I'm not one for being like, woe is me. But like, I've been through enough things, being treated, you know, a certain kind of way. And I have never felt that those experiences gave me a lease to be cruel in life, or to be, to be so closed off, or have such presuppositions that I refuse to see people, or attempt to do my best to see people for who they actually are or what they actually believe. And I try my best to have charitable views of people. And I think it's a really good mind exercise to think, okay, I disagree with this person, maybe deeply. I'm going to assume that this person isn't bad, isn't mean, doesn't desire bad things for the world. And so I'm going to try my best to put myself in their shoes and think of why they think how they think. And again, starting from the charitable side is the key thing here. Otherwise, it's not really empathy. You're just like, well, again, you're assuming, and you're trying to pin them with a label or oh man, the word is just slipping. A fault, whatever another word for that would be.
Okay, great. So he finally defines empathy. And he uses this example of trying to pin people with a label or pin a fault on them instead of showing them empathy. And so let's see an example of someone doing that here when he's doing that, talking about women.
Someone made a post about...
Before he goes into that, too, I just want to give an example of where he's so incredibly wrong. So when, coming from where I come from, right? Like, I grew up with skinheads, Nazi lowriders, peckerwoods, and stuff like that. And, you know, the first fights I ever got in my life were over having a black best friend, right? So I grew up punching Nazis in the face. And when I came to where I live now, like, I was very aggressive about, like, policing people's language when it came to, like, racism. This is a very white culture up here. And I would get in a lot of confrontations with people over their language. And, you know, there's an incident that happened with a young black woman, one of the only black people up here, where, you know, I caused a confrontation over somebody saying the N-word. And, you know, in the end, she had kind of been like, you know, like, it's all good. Like, you don't need to defend me. Like, they can say the word. I don't care. And I had to have like a come to Jesus moment with myself of like, you know, whether or not I was being helpful or not. And when I did that, I had to like, you know, look at like things in a more intelligent way. Like, okay, let's think about like what makes people racist. Like, because I know why I know the people that were racist, but I didn't know what makes people racist. And I started getting into like the whole idea of, you know, evolution and tribalism and, you know, fear of the other. And I really like worked hard to work out this idea that, when you have fear of the other, like, and you have tribalism, that you come up with these reasons, and when your education doesn't, push back against those reasons, then, you're kind of a Neanderthal, and that's what you believe. And so, like, in explaining that to myself, I came up with, the ability to recognize that some people are, they're not educated. They're ignorant. In fact, they're educated to the opposite, right? Like that racism is good, black people are bad, Mexicans are bad, and that deserves empathy. And I was like, okay, now I'm not going to punch people in the face anymore, right? Like, I'm going to do everything I can to instead, from this point on, be like a little bit less confrontational in every single, like in these specific instances, it were people using the A, not a hard R. It was white dudes that thought they were like really like fucking, gangster and shit like that. And so I said, okay, I'm going to add more nuance to my thought process for this. But that being said, if you give somebody the benefit of that doubt and that person's like, oh no, I think, black people have small brains, black people, like if you attempt to work with a person to get them to admit that what they're saying is ignorant, and that person chooses to say, fuck you, you can go eat a dick. I'm always going to be this person, the white race or whatever they want to say is the master race or whatever. Then at that point, I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you nuance. I don't owe you context. I don't owe you empathy. At that point, you deserve every bit of mockery and shame that I toss your way. And that's where this kid is like completely off base here, is he's treating this like every single person is deserving of empathy. And that's not true. They might deserve the attempt at empathy, but they definitely do not deserve empathy. It's something that you do have to earn.
About how this person's husband had ironed their shirt on the table, and they were frustrated because this ruined the table's lacquer, the veneer or whatever on the table. They were just saying they were a little frustrated. Like, husband had a job interview, ironed his shirt on the table, and look how it ruined the table. And there are a myriad of comments. And one of them was just saying, I think your husband's a moron. And I took exception to that. And I said, well, either that or he was in a rush and he made a mistake. Either or. Well, it wasn't that person, but it was another person who came in, guns blazing, freaking out, so angry, saying just this whole diatribe about how I'm probably a moron because it's moronic men who make excuses for other moronic men. And it's women who have to pick up the slack for them. They just came in like so angry, and they said a bunch more, whether it's she has a complicated relationship with whoever raised her who was a male in her life, or has been hurt by a partner, or just spends too much time online and is starting to perceive online men as being the default. It's all too obvious to me that this person has some kind of an issue. And if I'm to engage in an argument with this person, neither of us know each other. And I'm simply going to be another male who slots into this person's issue. And I'm not going to make anything better, either for the people in her life or for her or for me.
And so you couldn't have more clearly pinned faults on a person.
Yeah.
Rather than try to show them the empathy, you're trying to educate people. This is it, man. This is the hypocrisy. People don't even understand these core ideas, and they're out here promoting them and getting them ass backwards. They can't even practice what they preach.
Yeah.
But don't worry, that's why you got friendly guardian angels like me. I'll be here.
That is a good video. Dark Brandon is dope. I love Dark Brandon. But this is why so many like debate bro shit like drives me nuts, right? Is because almost everything that can be talked about that is not talked about in a way to have resolution, like end an agreement or end in some type of positive outcome that can be quantifiable, right? If you can't do that, then you're just talking. And I do like philosophy. Like I really I love philosophy. But the thing about philosophy is that it's the science of ideas, right? Like you're talking about things and you're hoping that the things that you believe are right or correct in some manner. And you're hoping that like it leads to like further discourse and a progression of ideas that leads to, hopefully a resolution. When you want to talk about whether or not some people like should get empathy or should not get empathy, it's such a wide open concept dependent on, like I said, nuance and context, that you're never going to be able to fully make your point and at the same time be safe from hypocrisy, right? And so it's just like anything else that I've continued to say over and over again about all these things. It's like you should have a really good relationship with any point of view that you have, like, but you should never get married, like, because marriage is great while you're in it, but divorce is difficult and messy. And so when it comes to ideas, when you have to divorce from an idea, you're much less likely to do so because it's really hard and it's messy. He's taking something and he's attempting to find a middle ground where he could bring two disparate tribes together. And I don't think he's up to the task, right? And I also think that he's just taking an incredibly bad route to do so. If you want to say everybody deserves empathy, then it's actually probably best to just state it in a much simpler way. And that is, if you encounter somebody for the first time and they say something that you don't like, you should give them a chance to prove to you that they're not who you think they are or who they assume or who you assume they are. That's what I'd say. That's the best case for empathy, in my opinion. And once again, that can be debated. All right, we got one last video, guys, because we are not ending this show. We got one last video to end this show, as we always do. We're going to have some fun. I don't know why, guys. I saw this. Okay? No more empathy talk. No more, Bo. No more. I can't do any more empathy talk. Okay, I'm not empathetic to your situation, Bo. I cannot do any more. I don't know why, but I saw this thumbnail. I saw this thumbnail, and I was like, this is going to be funny. And you guys are going to judge me. You guys are going to say to yourselves, why? Why did you think this is going to be funny? And I'm going to show you guys. Are you guys ready for this? You guys ready? All right. It's a dog with shoes on, guys. Look, I'm a basic human being when it comes to humor. All right? I laugh at a lot of stuff. All right? I saw a dog wearing some low top Nikes, and I was like, some runners, and I was like, this is about to be good right here. All right? This is about to be good. I was so ready for this. You guys ready? Also, not cool. Not cool. Dude, those are some Halloween songs. Look at this poor dog. That lady's laugh is amazing. Oh, shit. Wait, Slay Queen? Oh, my God. Look at that. How did you even get those on that dog? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not funny. Okay, come on. That dog has a tough enough life. All right. That dog right there. That dog was not born cute. That dog probably is not anatomically correct. All right. It has a hard time getting up on the couch. That is not okay. That's going too far.
Come on, we're gonna walk away. Oh my gosh.
Why?
Wait, what?
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Whoa!
Dude.
Okay, I'm actually, this feels like dog abuse. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know if this is okay. I feel like like PETA is gonna get a hold of me. Where are all these dog shoes coming from? Is there like a dog shoe website? Are these just like doll toy shoes? What the? Oh, there we go. There we go. That dog's got some runners on. Okay, I'm gonna admit I did not know this whole video was gonna be dogs in shoes. It's a little much now. Aww! Aww!
Come here.
Oh, we got one.
It's off Amazon. It's off Amazon. But I couldn't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. All these wine moms. That's definitely wine mom humor right there, guys. I don't know. If dogs and shoes are your thing, that's a hell of a video. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. The black dog with the heels on. It would be a 4. It'd be a 4 if it wasn't for the 2 points I give it because the dog with the heels on. Okay? Dog with the heels on elevates it from a 4 to a 6. But I'm going 6 out of 10, guys. Okay, 6 out of 10 for that one. All right. Well, that's it. I've overstayed my time a little bit by 15 minutes even. I've been here a long time tonight. We didn't even get to everything because that's how I roll sometimes. I do not even get to all the videos I'm supposed to watch. So make sure, let me put these videos in here so that way we can get those on. Let's watch those on Saturday? Wednesday, right? Next show is Wednesday. So I'll make sure that we get these going for Wednesday. All right, guys. No more vids! I know, I'm going to get removed for PETA crimes. Exactly. I'm done. PETA's coming for me. ASPCA is like probably in my email box right now. Between you and Redonk, Bo. I'm amazed Redonk isn't here asking me to play the Hasanabi dog shocker video. Where you at, Redonk? 1 of 10. Luck Dragon says 1 of 10. You don't believe in Wednesdays. I also don't. Wednesday is not a day. It's Wednesday. We all know that. Just like February is February, not February. Okay? It's not how people say. Not in America. Not in America. Okay? All right, guys. Check out my videos. Click my shit. Hit the like button. Drop comments. All those things. Have a good weekend. Love you guys. Appreciate it.